like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shame for the championship. Bucking on Tampa, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees or Roger Goodell. Yeah, money like this and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like this and I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
All right. Man, shout out to y'all, man. Shout out to the Mighty Who That Nation. Welcome. We're now rocking with the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, where we have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sport talk from your favorite sports fam. What's poppin'? Shout out to the fams. And big ups to you guys on this Mother's Day weekend. So shout out to all the mothers who are putting in work. Shout out to the mothers. For the mothers that are putting in work, handling the business, keeping it real, and holding it together, this day is for you. Shout out to all of you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed a fantastic weekend. Big ups to every which way one of you for being in the stream on this one. Shout out to the fam. Like I said last week, man, shout out to y'all. Took a week, little time off, man, during the time, man, we be in here doing our thing. But big ups to the family members. Appreciate all of you guys for being in the stream. This one here, Saints begin new era. Cap space, rookies, veteran, Post-Carr. A lot of the decision making was behind Derek Carr, the man elected to leave, and that ultimately put him out of the way. And the Saints now can transition to a place where we haven't seen in a very long time. To have a rookie quarterback or a young quarterback here to take the team into the future, I think it's the correct decision. Now, ultimately, we're hearing rumors about them looking at a veteran quarterback. I can perhaps see a guy, a placeholder, somebody can come in, kind of steady the Saints room because of what they perceive the inexperience of the position. Understandable. So we'll see what they do. And there's a lot of time between now and getting ready for training camp when we start seeing a lot of the added additions bringing into the team. Perhaps they're looking at fulfilling certain positions, the backup offensive line position, maybe a bigger wide receiver. We did see some vets try out for the camp, and we're going to listen to just a little bit of the interview from Kellen Moore that was done the other day, and we'll go over it and kind of listen to that thing. But big ups to every last one of you guys for being in the stream on this one, on this Mother's Day. Big ups to you. I see y'all out there. Big ups, Madden Goon. Shout out to you, Pelicans, Nola, OG Jerry. Big ups to you, fam. Appreciate y'all. Tired Eyes. Much love, brother. Phillip says the season can't get here fast enough. Hell, I'm excited about the preseason. Let's go see. And that's the air a lot of people are feeling. What's up, brother? Bastion says exciting time. See, that's what I'm saying. It's the air with the old era out of here. The Dennis Allen crap, the old Possums era, and Derek Carr, his quarterback, those guys are gone. This is a much better thing. You got a rookie head coach with his own perceived quarterback, with Tyler coming here. Listen, we're good with that. We're good because eventually it has to happen. We had to see the young team take over, so the offense will be under new management. Y'all remember that old song, Under Love, Under New Management? Y'all remember that? This is what's going on. So I'm happy for that, to be quite honest with you, fam. I really am, to see that happen. And I just hope that the Pelicans can do the same thing. And, if pretty hopefully they can, I don't too much like to say the hope word, but we'll see what happens. But as far as the Saints are concerned, I think it is definitely the right decision. What's up, Dr. Gray? Shout out to you. What's up, Jaden? Good to see you out there as well. Much love, Poppy 504 Backwoods. What's up, Deborah? Shout out to my girl, Deborah. The queens are in full effect. Happy Mother's Day to all of the fantastic moms and ladies doing it the right way. Notice how I phrased that. Y'all know how we phrase that. What's up, Stace? Shout out to my dog, Stacy. April. Shout out to April doing the thing. Much love to you. What's up, Bev? All the queens are in the building. This is y'all day, man. This is y'all day to y'all day, y'all day. Kind of great shout out to you as well. Brother Claude, much love to you. Good to see you in the building. Sonia, what's happening, Sonia? Tasha, my girl Tasha, happy Mother's Day to you as well. Big ups to all the fantastic queens out there doing it do. Doing the do. And if you're struggling, if you don't fit this day, you do better next day. This could be said about you. It's okay. We ain't perfect. What's up, Desi? Shout out to you. Good to see you, Queen. Much love to Desi. Brian, what's up, fam? Much love to you. Good, Young City 9, V Griffin. All of you guys. Y'all know I always like to give shots out to the fam. Without you guys, nothing ain't popping. Willie, shout out to Willie. John B's in the building. Much love to all you guys. Fantastic. All right, what's up, Ro? I see you, fam. Much love, 504 Code. Big ups to you as well. Shout out to Michael with the super chat. Says, how you doing, Q? Read the article today on NFL saying Banks will be the left tackle and Fuaga back to right tackle. I heard another article mention that it was a possibility of a shift. We don't exactly know what will happen until we get most of these other guys in here and you start seeing the alignments held up. But Banks could play the blind side or he could play the guard position. Either one of those, because if you remember, we go back into the mock draft and all that, looking at some of the prospects, they were looking at, even though he was a left tackle, a blind side tackle for Texas, it was saying that he potentially could move. He had the goods, so to speak, the skills to shift inside and play the position. And my thing is, you do that now. You decide on what it's going to be now. I think Tali Fuaga did a fantastic job at the blind side tackle. But if you have Kevin Banks Jr. and Tali, that is bookends. And these guys, if you watch how they play, they have the same dominant, nasty disposition, but still under control. And you want to have that type of temperament for your offensive line. If you want to move bodies out the way, you can't have guys coming in here all mealy mouth and just going through the motions. You got a dead offensive line. And we've seen a lot of that last year, when guys didn't have enough intestinal fortitude or whatever you want to call it to move other human beings out of the way. You got to have that temperament. That's what Philly had when they had the big guys, the big nasties against the big nasties, and who going to win this here? So Philly was moving them guys out of the way. And then on the Eagles side, the defensive side, it was getting around them guys to make it hard on people. So you got to have that temperament. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you for the super chat.
Thank you very much. Picking me up, bringing me back to this world.
All right, shout out to my boy Tron as well. Dr. Key is in the building. What's up, Dr. Key? Shout out to you, my brother. Appreciate you as always for being in the stream. Much love. What's up, Trey? Shout out to Trey Joseph as well. Big ups to my dog Trey for representing the fam. Now, anyway, fam, like I said, we're going to do a few things here. I'm going to try not to keep you long today, fam, on this Mother's Day. I know a lot of family members are kicking it and chilling and doing what they do. Mike also adds, can't play with the tackle position. I would put Banks at tackle. Why use a 9th pick? That's right, on the guard. That would be crazy. But see, the logic is also, too, the Saints address the guard position. They address the guard position. That would be like when I was saying, and that's what I was saying, when you took an offensive tackle inside the top 10, that guy will start. But if you look at the line, the Saints did bring in Dylan Runnels. He's not just some mealy-mouthed guy sitting there. This guy had a lot of starter experience with the Titans. Now the Saints brought him in on a 1-year prove-it deal, but Dylan Runnels could very well be that guard. If you watch the tape on him, he's more of a run-blocking force than a pass-blocking force, but he has skills and he's at the prime of his position. I don't see him as like a John Hurst type. You know what I'm saying? I see that guy as a guy coming here with the mindset to start. Yeah, so you see what I'm saying? And like I said, I don't see him like a Lucas Patrick type of dude. I don't see him as that. I see him as a guy coming in to start and not coming in here to be a backup. I think Nick Seldevary was a guy that Saints still have question marks around. What could he do? This is the third year Seldevary's been here. It's a new regime, new team coming in. It's not the same people that's loyal to this guy. It's a new team. And if you can't stay healthy, get on out of the way for somebody that can. This is the rough, tough, highly competitive world of the NFL. And it's a heavy results driven business. We're not tolerating no losses. We know it's too much losing over the last 4 years, and it's getting the patience have worn out. For people that don't understand, that got short memories. We got people out here with long memories that understand what we've been through, the plans that they gave us that have failed over and over again, all of the excuses. I don't want to hear it no more. My patience is at an end with all of this, and my memory is long and it's good. So I'm not playing no games with this. And I'm sorry for some of the people that like to kind of put this, that, and third. That's fine if that's you. But if you're a person that builds a lot on the history of what happened with the team, then you're not going to sit up here constantly over and over again and have this stuff happen to you without having more of a methodical approach to how of team building. And these people like to do all this other stuff and pretend, not the family members and the supporters, but the people that create these mindsets and these narratives like this is a new thing. Listen, I want to see how it works. I'm very excited to see how it will look. Kellen Moore. I'm not, I'm optimistic about it, but I'm cautiously optimistic because I want to see how it works. I want to see what Tyler looks like back there. I want to see the competition between him and Spencer. I want to see the young running backs. I want to see who's the potential heir to Elvin Kamara. He's getting up in age. I want to see how the wide receiver room, who's going to step up and step out. You know what I'm saying? I want to see the new mindset, the dominant mindset of this offensive line. I want to see that. I want to see how the Saints defense shift from a 43 to a 34 defense. I want to see how Carl Granderson and Chase Young look in the 34 look. I want to see how these safeties look back there. You see what I'm saying? I want to see how Kool-Aid McKinstry look in his second year. How does Alante Taylor look? Did he develop into what we think he could be? That type of stuff. That's what I'm looking at. And I want to see how that looks. And like I said, it might not be a lot of wins this upcoming season, which is fine. At some point, we had to go through this. As opposed to sitting around here and doing all this other kind of stuff. At some point, we had to go through this, and I'm about happy about that. All right, shout out to Big Sean, man. Much love, brother Sean. Thank you for becoming a YouTube member, brother. Appreciate you on this Mother's Day.
Very much. Picking me up,
yes.
taking me back to this world.
All right, yes, Desi said I want to see it as well. That's right, Desi. That's right, baby. All right, Paper Chaser says Arch is coming out. I'm not so sure, bro. We'll talk about that. What's up, brother Dwayne? Shout out to you. What's up, Arnold? Shout out to you as well. He says we'll go after Arch Manning if Tyler looks bad after one season. Will they just abandon him like that? I mean, is there any comparison? Like you got Arch, but that's if Arch comes out after 1 year at Texas, right? Do you think he'll do that? All eyes will be on him to see. I know Garrett Nussmeier comes out next year. Would you be happy with Garrett and his father sitting up on the team as the offensive coordinator? Would you be happy with that, baby? I'm just saying, what's up, Keldrick? Shout out to you, man. But yeah, could he? What's up, Toy? Shout out to you, fam. I see you. Appreciate you. That's the thing. I don't the shift like that would, to go from not taking any quarterbacks in the first top of the draft since Archie Manning in 1971 to doing it twice in respective years. I don't know. I can't say. I don't say. But first of all, you got to be bad enough to get the first overall pick because nobody's trading you that pick if Arch is coming out. So that's number one. Do you guys consider the Saints right now going into the season the worst team in the NFL? Because that's what it would take to get Arch Manning. Nobody who has that Arch Manning pick is going to trade that to you. They're not going to do that. So you would have to be the guy. Your team would have to be the stinkiest losing this team in the NFL. Is the Saints that bad? I know we won 5 last year, but I don't see us as that bad. I could possibly see like people asking me, okay, you got this doing the NFC South roundtable. Shout out to my guys. And they was asking me about the wins, losses. I'm still uncertain of that. But now, I'm messing with Low and all them on that. But listen, I'm not so sure the Saints get the wins that we had last. I mean, we maybe 5 or 6 wins, maybe even 7 wins, perhaps. We'll see what they do with all this other kind of stuff. But we'll see. But I still don't see us as a 3 win team. I still see the Saints as talented enough because, like I said, we're not a cratered team, like a hole in the, you below the hole in the ground. You just terrible. You got holes everywhere. I don't see that with the Saints. The Saints, the last 3 years, had an accountability problem. That's what happened when you don't have people taking responsibility for their actions, especially at the highest realms of the team. Accountability will turn a good team into a craptastic team. And I think we'll see how the accountability flows with Kellen Moore here. And you got to allow or afford the rookie head coach an opportunity to make mistakes and learn. That's the point of having a lot of mistakes are going to be made with Kellen Moore at the head coaching position, and whoever the quarterback is going to be. It's going to be a new system, and mistakes are going to be made. Now, it'll be fantastic if they bust out the door and get 10 wins and all this kind of stuff. That'll be fantastic. We'll see how it goes. I wish I had my crystal ball out the shop. I would tell you, I will let you know. What's up, Duke? Shout out to you. In the groove. Big ups to you. All right. Much love. That's just we're about to be the grandparents of okay, good. Shout out to Sean there, man. Y'all about to be grandparents? Man, y'all too young for all that. What's going on over there? What's up, Jason? Shout out to you. Who that daddy? Big ups to you, man, as well. All right, let's get it. What's up, Akban? Shout out to you, fam. Appreciate you, brother. Jerome, I see you. All right, the Chief. What's up? All right, Big Chief says the amazing Arch Manning hasn't done a damn thing in college football to warrant a team to tank. There's not a shred of evidence he amounts to anything. Damn, the Big Chief laying down the big facts. Well, it's the lineage of the Mannings. The guy was, I watched him play at Newman. He has it all. And you're right. He had done a lot at Texas. That's why I was saying that I don't see him doing it for 1 year and then leaving. I would see Manning as a 2-year guy. That's what I see. I think he plays out the string. He had an NIL deal. He already comes from a wealthy family. What's the incentive for him to make the jump? It's not money. He's rich already. Plus he has the NIL deal makes him $1 million in college. So he don't need to jump right now anyway. You see what I'm saying? So that's my rationale. We'll see how it all works, as the season goes. All right. Yeah, Super Saints fans, I'm just taking it in stride, Q. We are brand new to all. He said all of this. We might shock some people if it's constructed right. Indeed, bro. Like I said, we wasn't a bad team. What's up, B Flat? We wasn't a bad team. We was a team without accountability. And if you don't have any account, it creates all kind of havoc, and you see how it went. So anyway, Derek Carr is out in the news. Y'all know we covered it in the street. Y'all have heard it ad nauseum from all over the place. Derek Carr opted to retire and leave, and which opens the Saints room up to some guys. And you have 2nd round draft pick Tyler from Louisville there. He'll step in there. There's also Spencer Rattler there. There's also Jake Hayner, and they'll bring in a camp body to help out. There are rumors swirling around Flacco and all this kind of, who knows? They might bring in a veteran guy into the mix to kind of steady the room. But in the end, we all know what was going on with the team. We think the team did a phenomenal job of just basically, moving forward. Let's just get all of it ahead, move forward, new quarterback, new system. Let's just do what we need to do the right things to push the food. I'm good with that. It might not be as good as you think going into this season, but it's okay. At some point, we had to do this. We had to do it. If we done it on time, it would have been a little different. But anyway, Carr is out, right? And then of course the news pivot to who should be the quote. Well, obviously Tyler was drafted to be the guy under Kellen Moore, right? So the room, no matter how they play it, they're going to tilt the room toward Tyler to justify the pick. A lot of skepticism behind the selection of him because of the injury history and the fact that the Saints as a team are terrible with these injuries. They often are so bad that the dumbass team blames the injuries for why they can't win games. Not poor construction or management of how the team was just built, but just ultimately the fact that that's something that you want to stray away from. You know, you have to improve that. Now, I've not heard anything about the Saints improving the medical staff or its compatriot in the NBA doing the same. I have not heard anything about that. I've been monitoring that because I think that's a big thing to do. You can't bring in these players and just think luckily they're going to stay healthy. You have to upgrade your technology. You have to upgrade your medical staff. I haven't heard that yet. So I'm going to keep looking at it and we'll see how it goes. But in terms of the Saints salary cap situation after Derek Carr, we talked about it on the show yesterday that his announcement sets up the Saints to have a pretty decent situation in terms of the salary cap as we kind of jump right into it. He announced it on Saturday, and we know with his departure in this never-ending battle with the cap, and we'll see how much the Saints are getting back. Now, we shouldn't expect much change. Shout out to John Sigler at the Saints Wire. We covered this yesterday with information from Sports Illustrated and Sport Track. And over the cap, you know, they kind of made mention of it. The Saints processed the retirements of Carr and former All-Pro right tackle Ryan Ramczyk on June the 2nd. They'll get a combined $2.51 million back, just over $2.5 million back. Now, they are estimated to be under the cap right now. Over the cap, have them just over $27 million right now. Those contracts could be replaced by a pair of $960,000 deals, moving into the team's 51 salary cap hit. So the net change will be just over $500 million, just $600 million. So $590 to be precise worth of changes. The big changes come the following year on the Derek Carr deal. Saints essentially agreed to undo the contract restructure they used earlier this season. Carr is giving up $30 million from the restructure, which the Saints won't see until 2026. Not that they need it right now anyway, because they got $20-something million after, and we'll see how that's all factored in once the Saints get the deals done, because many of the draft picks are signed. So, you know, that wasn't going to take an obscene amounts of money. So as far as the cap is concerned, this year, the Saints are in good position. They're in good shape if they wanted to then sign some cheaper veterans leading into camp, in which they can do. Now, that will lower the 26 salary cap hit called dead money when they paid for players not on the team, from the $69.2 million to about $39.2 million, which is huge. So having the deal of having Derek Carr to retire, 2 years remaining on his contract, minimal savings this year, you don't need them, but $30-something million against the dead money next year, which is at 69.2, dropping it just over 39 million, cuts it in half, is a huge perk. Now, the thought process on this is that at some point, Derek Carr could have said, okay, we'll just go do the surgery and then I'll be ready for the following year. But I don't think the man wanted to be here. I think he got something going on, a lot of stuff going on, and he's stepping away. And that's fine. I think, you know, go ahead, tend to your family. The man made a lot of money over his NFL career. Just go and enjoy that, you know, because coming here and dealing with the Who Dat Nation, you're not winning, is something I'm telling you, that would have been a very difficult thing, because we're really patient. Our patience is very low. So let's breaking it down further. The experts at Over the Cap estimated the salary cap to jump again in 2026, this time to about $295.5 million. Over the Cap has the Saints at 338.2 plus in commitments over next year's book. So that puts them in the red by more than almost $43 million. Once Carr's retirement is processed, they'll be in the red just about 12, almost 13 million. That's it. So that's a good help there. And that's what I was saying about when we signed Derek Carr, the Saints really couldn't afford this hefty contract, and it was just gambling. But like I said, Mickey Loomis has never been a guy that's been a guy that worried that much about, the cap and all this. He always been a guy just to kick it down the road and whatever happens, happen. That's all he's ever done. And he doesn't do anything else. He doesn't work it back to the black. That's not his philosophy. His thing is, let's just sign everybody and whip at it again and just blame injuries for it. So, I mean, this helps the Saints in many ways from Derek Carr undoing it, because with him helping, because it's really, I'm not saying shit about Mickey Loomis. He the one that got him into this. It's really, if you want to thank somebody, you thank Derek Carr for saying, I'm going to retire, man. I'm not going to do this no more. Because with him doing that, that helps the Saints out in a huge way with this money going forward. Because the Saints was bored. That money was looking something bad next year. And you see it if you look at the numbers yourself at over the cap, is showing you that the Saints next year, man, they sell that stuff was through the roof already. They aren't out of the woods just yet. Remember the dead money we talked about? The Saints are not going to have more of it to account for players whose contracts void in the spring of 26, and the list includes some pretty big names. Cam Jordan's 18.7. Each one of these men that's listed here are on 1-year deals. Cam Jordan's 18.6 mil. Demario Davis 14.2 million. Taysom Hill 9.7 million. Tyrann Mathieu 9.2. Colin Saunders, Foster Monroe, JT Grant, Rashid Shaheed at 6.3 mil plus. Of course, the Saints can cover the dead money and kick the can down the road with extensions, which they did this offseason with Chase Young and Juwan Johnson. Some of the players like Rashid Shaheed look like obvious extension candidates. Others don't. If that is the last ride for Jordan Davis and Tyrann Mathieu, is it? That's another 42.26 mil being paid for guys who aren't on the squad, on top of the 39.2 million for Carr and another 12 million for Ramczyk. That's money not being spent to improve the team. Sure, the Saints can work around it, but they've been working around it for years now. And at some point, you like to enjoy the same level of playing field as everyone else. There's no other factor to consider right now. One other factor, the Saints are tied with the Cardinals for the third most players under contract in 2026 with 47 of them. That does include Carr, Ramczyk, and all those players on expiring deals we just mentioned. But even if all of them depart over the next 10 months, the team ranks in the top half of the league. That matters, being in a position where you can bring guys back in the same system and develop them rather than turn over the entire roster and desperately sign rookie free agents just to fill the squad. That matters, according to the writer. Depending on how they play the cards over the summer and into the regular season, Saints could have enough unspent cap space to let roll into 26 and cover the 12 million and then some. Maybe if Mickey wants to max out the credit cards again in 26 and go get some high-end free agents, he'll have the resources to do that if he wants to keep steadily rebuilding the roster. He'll have a cushion of cap space to fall back on too. For years, it's been argued about whether the Saints were in cap hell, of what it even looked like. At some point, we could say that they were, and now they're clawing their way out. Like them or not, Derek Carr gave them a hand in getting out of the hole the Saints dug for themselves. Absolutely, he really did, because it was looking kind of rough. But also remember, Loomis was gambling on not 25, 26. Remember, 27 is when you get the big bump, when the Saints money go up into like the 200 million. That's what he was looking at. It's not hard to tell when you look at the money behind the Saints. He'll gamble this year 25, and then he'll gamble 26 if he needs to, because he understands the cushion in 27. But it obscures the timeline and the rebuild just a degree, because what he was trying to do in his mind was try to keep older players. This is where the money's coming from. Older players who are, that production is kind of weaning a bit. We know Tyrann Mathieu had decent numbers. We know Demario Davis had decent numbers, but Cam Jordan has fielding a lot of the money. His production has slipped considerably over the last couple of years. And that happens with age. Father time catches them all, right? So we've seen that. So at some point, you want to pivot from that to something else. But ultimately, we'll see what happens here. And like I said, a fresh approach with the Saints heading with a new staff is something that we definitely want to see. All right, so let's pivot to this. And this is also Saints Wire. Shout out to them. They did a good job on talking about the camp guys and who will be laid up for the camp guys. Shout out to Brother Ross. He did a really fantastic job in putting this together. The 4 veterans that the Saints signed out, even though they had 16 players for rookie tryouts the other day, as you can see the list on the screen of different guys here that they're trying out. And you got a few people, even a quarterback, Hunter Deckers, could be a camp body, somebody they tried out. Tulane defensive lineman Patrick Jenkins was among those. Leon Johnson III, a big wide receiver out of Oklahoma State. He was mentioned in the mix. Donovan Peoples-Jones, another wide receiver who had some good production in Cleveland, was among the mix of players that they brought in. So they had some DBs and some other guys in the mix to try out for the Saints. And a couple of guys really caught their eyes. Like I just played some of the footage from the minicamp. The Saints also used the minicamp to try out a few people. And that last year, you've seen guys like Rod Teamer, Kendall Vickers. Those guys were able to get involved in the Saints team from a tryout similar to what we're seeing right now. But the tryout veterans, defensive back Terrell Burgess, wide receiver Leon Johnson III, long snapper Logan Flushman, and wide receiver Donovan Peoples-Jones were among those mentioned. Now, here's the breakdown according to what Ross wrote about some of these guys. The cornerback, first thing that jumps off the page about Burgess in this environment, he spent his rookie campaign in 2020 working with the Saints defensive coordinator Brandon Staley. There go the Ties. As a part of the Rams, Burgess saw 49 defensive snaps that season, serving a majority on the special teams, right? 75% of that. However, the connection is still there as a part of the defensive backs group. Special teams has been the name with Burgess since entering the league from Utah. He impresses on the unit. So this is looking like a guy that could be a special teams guy. He didn't find the field last year, and he spent a lot of time on Buffalo Bills practice squad. Next one, Leon Johnson Jr. the third. Now, Leon Johnson the third, big body wide receiver. He's 6'5", 210 pounds. People were talking about you need a big physical wide receiver. Well, the veterans the Saints opted to bring in for the tryout, Leon Johnson III is that. Now, he's not much on the 40 time. I think he had a 4.55 in the pro day he did. But 6'5", 210, Oklahoma State wide out, good, big pass catcher, wide catch radius. 60% of his contested catches in 2023, his final collegiate season. During the year, he also graded out as a good blocker. And he spent last season with the Chargers practice squad, So Leon Johnson, we'll see how he fits coming through. Another guy here. Logan Flushman is a long snapper, maybe the toughest chance of breaking in New Orleans, but hopefully he can help himself gain some exposure with other teams while making a good name for himself with the Saints. Because Zach Wood had been having that job locked down for a long time, but when you knew you got a new special teams guy here, if Flushman can have a chance to impress, you never know. And if he does the same job that Zach Wood does just as well at a cheaper rate, don't think for a second they won't pull the plug. It happens. Wide receiver Donovan Peoples-Jones, most intriguing name on the list. Saints looking at another big body wide out, and Peoples-Jones had some success. He's 6'2", about 205 pounds. Peoples-Jones has a similar build to roster wide receivers like Bub Means, Cedric Wilson Jr., Kevin Austin Jr., so he will need his performance to stand out. But his numbers were good when he did play, when they gave him the time. In 2022 with the Browns, he had 61 catches for 839 yards. He had 3 touchdowns. And then in 2023 was traded late October to the Lions and never fully caught on. He remained with the hometown Lions through the 2024 season, mostly on the practice squad. So you still have 2 big wide receivers that the Saints brought in, not Allen, who a lot of people wanted to see, but these are other big wide receivers that the Saints have an opportunity that they're bringing in to kind of do some stuff here for the team. So like I said, it's interesting, but like I said, it's still plenty of time, a lot of time still remaining for the Saints to make moves in terms of bringing veterans in as we get closer and closer to, minicamp and then ultimately into big camp. It's still some time here. It's still a lot of time here. And the Saints could get, if they wanted Allen, they have the money to reach out and grab him. And I think it'll be an awesome thing to do that. All right. And also to talk about it, the Saints also did a pretty good job here of signing most of their draft picks. Now we know today they just signed wide receiver. They signed wide. It was reported that they've been signed Devin Neal, but it was mentioned that the Saints did sign Kevin Banks Jr., the first round draft pick. They got him. Danny Stutzman, a fantastic linebacker. Like I said, I like these guys. I love the Kevin Banks Jr. move. Solid. We need the help up front. Danny Stutzman is definitely a player. That'll be the guy that steps in once Demario Davis is done. Quincy Riley battling for a nickel position. Is a gritty little guy, very productive. Devin Neal, it'll be a battle between Devin Neal and Kendre Miller. Can Kendre Miller remain healthy? And I don't know if they can have a 3 running back approach. I don't know how offensively disciplined Kellen Moore's offense will be, because, it takes, some discipline and some planning to get 3 running backs involved in the system. Usually most people use 2. But Devin Neal is not a guy, I talked about him during the pre-draft process and made mention of him as one of my favorite, one of my backs that I liked out of college from Kansas, all-time leading rusher. Guy is a good little back. So you got Kamara at 30 getting older. Kendre Miller can't stay healthy. Devin Neal has a chance to kind of step in there, and we'll see if Kendre Miller can get healthy and compete there. Because if not, Devin Neal is definitely going to make his presence felt. Also, we got Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the mix too, not to forget him. He's there as well. Maliki Matavo, the development tight end, soft hands, good speed to him. The guy has is going to be something interesting. Remember, a lot of people not looking at Maliki Matavo right now because of the fact that the tight end room is jam-packed. But eventually, a lot of those guys are on 1-year deals. Juwan Johnson got his money as well, but Foster Monroe, Taysom Hill, and those guys are on 1-year deals. So Matavo could ultimately find himself having ability to catapult next year. Big old tight end. Soft hands, could block and everything, kind of slick, can catch the ball too. Good pickup for the Saints in later rounds. And then Fadil Diggs is another pass rush person that we'll see how he looks in coverage in a 3-4 system. The guy could rush the passer, but he'll be seen if you're playing in the 34 system. He'll be kind of looking at it to play that linebacker position. Can he drop into coverage and do all this kind of stuff? We'll see. But these are the guys the Saints still have a few of their draft picks to sign, and we'll see how that looks going forward. All right, and then let's take a look at the Saints. This is the unofficial Saints depth chart family. As it stands right here, you can see they removed Derek Carr out of the mix. He's no longer there, and you see Tyler there with Spencer Rattler and Jake Hayner. There'll be another camp guy, no doubt about it, that'll chime in. AK-41 at the running back position with Kendre Miller, Devin Neal's behind him. And then Clyde is in the 4th spot. This is unofficial, Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, and Brandon Cooks are seen as the first set of wide receivers. The second team is Bub Means, Kevin Austin Jr., and Cedric Wilson Jr. Dante Pettis, who the Saints gave a 1-year deal. Really excited about him. You'll see what he looks like. Mason Tipton, who had some potential, kind of fell off. Moochie Dixon and Chris Tyree. These are guys the Saints picked up. And, of course, like I made mention of the tight end position, you see Taysom and Foster. Taysom, according to Mickey Loomis, when they talked to him, was a guy that a lot of people perceived as he's not going to be ready right away. So Matavo might be able to step in there. But the Saints did have a free agent acquisition. You see Foster Monroe is banged up, but he should be good to go. But Jake Stahl was a guy that they picked up as well to kind of help out. And you see Stahl is a physical tight end kind of guy that you can use him different ways if you like. Some people believe he could be used as a fullback as well, but he's a physical blocker type who can catch the ball, not like Taysom or none of these other guys, but he's a serviceable tight end that does the dirty work, if you know what I mean. Then you look at the offensive line with Tolly. They got Kevin Banks at the right tackle position. We have heard rumors that there could be a switch there where Kevin goes left tackle, Tolly goes right tackle, and Penning becomes a backup. A lot of people say, Q, why not slide him to the guard position? Because you have guys competing at the guard position. You have Dylan Runnels, a veteran from the Titans who played, 50-something games. He started, 30-plus games, something like that. So you got a guy coming in his prime looking to start. And he'll challenge the often injured Nick Saldiveri for the guard position. So even if they had the idea to move Penning inside, he has to battle with those guys. And you have to think that with him never playing the guard position before, these other guys have a definite advantage over him, right? So you might just want to leave him at that tackle position just in case something happens. And like I said, the Saints set themselves up wonderfully with Penning because they declined his fifth option, and this is his final year. And like I said, it's just when you got to get these players in, and Trevor Penning was the casebook case of how not to develop a first-round draft pick offensive lineman. The Saints drafted this guy. They didn't play him at all but one game in his first year. The second year, he played, 6 games before they benched him roughly because he struggled at the blindside tackle position. He didn't see the field. He was active on the team, but he was buried on the active depth chart, and other guys were playing over him. They didn't kind of work him back in there and that type of thing until later on in the year. And then in the third year, they wanted to just put him in there at the right tackle position, in which he played much better. Started off a little struggly and shaky, but ultimately he played every snap. He was pretty much in every game. So he was a benefactor of having all of the game experience, and we'll see in his final season what he looks like, because guys are trying to take your job. So does he bring that force, that intelligence? Because this is probably going to be the smartest and most complete Trevor Penning that we've seen in the last 4 years coming into camp. And then, you see that McCoy at the center position, they bring in Will Clapp to kind of be a sturdy backup center. Cesar Ruiz needs to develop. And like I've often said, I think Cesar Ruiz should be 2 or 3 levels better than what he actually is. He really does. He should be knocking on a Pro Bowl guard, if you ask me. And then behind him, Landon Young, they bring him back for whatever reason. Don't understand why. And then you see guys like Kyle Hergel, Josh Ball, Josiah East-Rahim is a guy that they picked up in the 7th round last year, and he has a lot of potential. Does he make a step higher to become a quality veteran backup for the Saints? So, and like I said, ultimately, I believe the Saints will probably move into between now and the start of preseason, picking up veteran offensive linemen to kind of fill out that line. Maybe a couple of guys. Remember they did that last year when they brought in Luke Patrick, and what was the other guy name? Lemieux. They brought those guys in right around the same time. And we'll see if they do something similarly. Then, of course, we move on to the defense on the undepth chart, the unofficial depth chart, the 34 defense, the shifting from the Saints doing the 43 to the 34. How does that look? To me, now that Carr is gone, I think the offense will flow fine because they, Tyler does have it. They just got to protect him. If you can give the guy a running attack, he has good talent all around him. If you give him a running attack, and if he could have time to see the field, and either it's Tyler or Spencer Rattler. We can't kick out Spencer. We know Saints are positioning looking at Tyler to be the guy because of the high drafted and the onus on him to perform right away, being that he's going to be 26 in the fall. So there'll be a lot of pressure to get this guy involved because he's not a young rookie per se. He's a mature, older player who they believe, the guys that picked him, that he's ready, that he can handle that, So we'll see if it all fits, but he has the makeup. Tall quarterback, big quarterback, stand tall in the pocket, strong arm, has some athletic ability. You have to protect him. You have to give him a running attack. And if they can do that, I can see them having some success, just doing just that, the basics. On the defensive side, the 34 defense shifts from what it was last year. Some guys we've seen as DEs become linebackers. Can they adapt? Carl Granderson, Chase Young, half athleticism, but can they jump in cover? We've seen Carl Granderson do some stuff. I think these guys are looking up for that challenge. It does Cam start at that left end position? Is it, I really would love to see Brian Bresee and Vernon Brockton, those guys at those starting end positions, and Cam as a backup to them. I like to have Devon being a nose tackle as opposed to Nate Shepard. So you have basically the second line here mentioned here becomes the starters, in my opinion, and those other guys become backups to those guys. with that defense. Vernon Brockton was a 3rd-round selection. Brian Bresee was a 1st-round selection. Those guys need to have now. The rest of those guys, they had a chance. Let's just move them as quality depth behind those guys. Like I mentioned, Granderson, Demario Davis is there. Having Danny Stutzman there as a potential backup for him will be wonderful. Love Danny Stutzman. Also like Jelane Ford, who they picked up last year. He's talented. Anthony Orji, one of my favorite undrafted players on the team. He was phenomenal. Loved how he played. So you can't rule him out. He's going to be in there competing. And then you talk about other guys that they picked up, like Jonah Williams from the Rams. He's a guy you can't look too, roughly at. Chris Rump II. These are guys that Coach Staley is and familiar with. And then, of course, Isaiah Foskey, who's a 2nd-round draft pick. This will be his 3rd year, is positioned as a linebacker as well. So I know you can kind of mix and match with some of these guys if you want to use them. We'll see how Coach Staley's system look. But there's a lot of talent there. Then you go secondary. Kool-Aid McKinstry, Alante Taylor, Ugo Amadi. Those are the guys that see with Justin Reed, the best pickup of the in the offseason to me, Justin Reed on defense with Tyrann Mathieu. We also have the potential safety of the future and Jonas Sanker for Tyrann once his contract is over. You have Jordan Howard in there as well. And then behind those guys, Isaac Yiadom was brought back to the team. He really excelled and became a solid veteran. Maybe he in a reserve capacity, the 4th cornerback. Rico Payton, who's an undrafted guy we like a lot. And Quincy Riley, who the Saints picked up. How does he look? It's going to be a nice little battle there at the nickelback position. Can Quincy Riley move ahead of Ugo and take a position? You're looking at some of these draft picks. Can a position be taken by one of our draft picks in the secondary? Perhaps, baby. Perhaps. Then, of course, the special teams, you see Blake Grupe, Charlie Smith. We think Blake is good. Matt Hayball and James Burnap. Burnap could very well take Matt Hayball. And we've seen that happen before, didn't we? With these are Australian punters. We had another Australian punter the year before that. Hayball took his job. And then here goes James Burnap. A lot of people thought Burnap should have been drafted. How he punted for Alabama. A lot of people said that was a solid pickup for the Saints to get this punter because of his hang time with the punts, averaged like almost over 47 yards per punt, something like that. They led college with Alabama. You couldn't even get a return. He averaged like 1 yard per punt return because the guy punted the ball so damn high that the coverage team was able to get to the returner and surround him, and he just had to fair catch it. Plus, he did a good job of directional punting, kicking the ball inside the 20. Burnap could very well burn up Matthew Hayball and get him on up out of here. So you might that's going to be an interesting battle as well. And then, of course, we'll get into it, the return game. With Rashid Shaheed being one of your top wide receivers, you might want to position somebody else to be a returner in back there. So Velus Jones Jr. was a guy that the Saints picked up. He was basically labeled as a running back. He is mentioned in the mix for a potential returner along with Dante Pettis. Remember, Pettis did kick returning as well when he was in college, pretty good at it, and he has a niche for it as well. He almost had one he returned for the Saints last year, if y'all remember that. Remember that? They said he stepped out. He almost had a return last year for us. So we'll see how it all goes, man. But this is the unofficial depth chart, family. It doesn't mention everybody, but this is the unofficial depth chart for what the Saints got going on. Very interesting. Now that you guys have seen this depth chart, how many of these, with you guys seeing this, you guys tell me something. You guys tell me in the chat, how many wins do you think the Saints get with this depth chart? How many wins? Shout out to KB for being a member for the last 39 months. Happy Mother's Day to the Queen. Shout out to you.
Thank you very much. Picking me up, bringing me back to this world.
All right. Shout out to Lori. I see you, Lori. Much love to you. Good to see you in the building as well. Mr. Bonds, how you doing, sir? Said the QB job is Rattlers to lose. All right. All right. Y'all put it in the chat. Let me know what y'all feel about this, fam. All right, T5 the Great, who that to you, fam? Appreciate you. What's up, Scoop? What it do, pimpin'? Shout out to my dog, Scoob. Chillin'. Much love, my brother. All right, Gundam. Brother Gundam is in this thing, man. He says, Q, I don't trust Cesar Ruiz. He's the gift that keeps on giving. Atrocious blocker. I I don't. We see. You watch the tape. Listen, I'm telling you, it's some players that we just don't focus on. Like we don't focus on a lot because people give grace to some of these guys. Cesar Ruiz is one of these players. A lot of the Who That Nation see the Great Saint think tank and the talent evaluators that watch all of the Saints games and watch the practices. This guy is given the Grace Award. If there was an award for somebody getting grace on the team, it is Cesar Ruiz. He gets the Grace Award big time. A lot of people don't focus on Cesar Ruiz like that. They just give him grace. But see, I've been telling y'all this for a while. If you watch the tape, he pops up on the tape as being very inconsistent. Especially last year when you had, I can give Lucas Patrick or Shane Lemieux grace because they were first year players, right? These guys been here for like what, the first year? When didn't they sign Lucas Patrick last year? Or was it the year before? However you see it, Cesar Ruiz has been here for a while. He's been here long enough to get a second contract. I know that for sure. And really, based on what I've been watching of all these years, he had one good year, and that was the year he got the contract. After that, it's just been off. He gets major grace from people. He gets major grace. And I'm saying it, and I'm saying it as politely as I can put it about Cesar Ruiz. I keep pinpointing, I'm like, man, Cesar Ruiz was a first-round draft pick who was a center that the Saints had to change the guard, so we gave him grace for the transition at first. But there was no excuse. That was the first year. The second year, third year, he had and into his new contract that he should be a lot better than what he is for the Saints. I'm saying Cesar Ruiz has been here so long and has been tapped into the system where he should be the Saints' best offensive lineman, like the best veteran. We know McCoy is there. We know McCoy battling injuries. If McCoy's healthy and McCoy's mind right, he's one of the top, 5, 6, 7 centers in the game. I mean, McCoy is incredibly intelligent, but I cannot ignore the injuries. And you have to be able to protect at that position. But Cesar Ruiz should be, by all indication, he should be one, if not the best offensive lineman the Saints have. He really should. And I don't know why he's not that. But I was like, you put the tape on. There was times last year he didn't know. He's trying to tell them young guys what to do, and he didn't know what to do. That's how the Saints, while I tell people about, the injuries, I'm like, it wasn't any injuries, fam. You got backups for a reason. The backups practice. They don't just smash their ass and watch the starters play like you do when you watching them play games. They do that during game, but when the starters are practicing, in practice, they're practicing as well. So you are supposed to be ready to go, and at least you're supposed to know your playbook. A lot of times I've seen that. The communication breakdowns, guys didn't know who they were blocking. And I told y'all over and over again, right? When we did the Patreons, I would show y'all, it's like, then people was timing we broke the game down. They were timing the Saints snaps. And as they snapped the ball, the defense was timing it to the point where they were perfectly predicting when the Saints snap the ball, so they shift the line. They would shift the defensive line. And the Saints offensive line, when they shifted right before the snapping of the ball, the Saints offensive lineman, they didn't know who to block. They would then double block one guy would get free, and they were purposely doing that to test the communication of the Saints offensive lineman, and they were failing miserably. That's why Spencer had to get the hell out of the pocket and run. They were getting through that, and they seen that, and they kept doing it over and over and over again. The communication wasn't there. Now, a lot of times, so much goes on to the player, but a lot of it goes on to the coach, because you're supposed to be ready for that. Them guys supposed to be communicating and know right before that who they block. This is my man. Go over there. Or this type of thing, you see? And I seen that, and they were having success on the Saints game after game toward the back end of the season. It was strategy how they was doing it. And I picked out, like, man, these people ain't slick or sly. The tape shows everything. There's nothing hitting on film. You got cameras everywhere. You see everything. So, but you're right on that Cesar Ruiz thing. You're absolutely right on that. All right, let's look at some. What's up, English? Shout out to English. Says, what up, Q? Seems like the air is a little fresher and the birds are singing Like they mean it again after the black and gold. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, brother English. Yes, indeed, sir. It was rough. But the thing is, I want, with the Derek Carr thing, that it was just a bad decision to do it. We could not afford the man. A lot was put on his shoulders because they put him up there. It's not like you were in your closet somewhere in your car having a full, conniption fit, hyperventilating and hallucinating that Derek Carr was supposed to be the last key to put the Saints back to playoff relevance. You didn't, hallucinate that. That's what they were pushing to you. See, the narratives. When they brung him here, that was the narrative that he was supposed to be the piece that take the Saints to the next level. Because they had all these veterans here. All you need was a veteran quarterback there to take them to the next level. That did not happen. For whatever reason, it did not happen. So thus, as the chapter is officially closed, it's marked as a tremendous failure, a horrible and terrible failure that should hang around Mickey Loomis' neck like a nasty green, nasty ass piece of moldy cheese. But it will not, because there is no accountability, because Gail Benson don't know nothing about how to run an organization with accountability. She don't know nothing. She over relies on guys past their prime. Real deal Holyfield. But outside of that, it's really interesting because Carr, it was a tough spot to be in. Being in with the Raiders in Los Angeles is different than New Orleans. And these guys come down here thinking they're going to get a bag. You can come down here and get paid, but you're going to get your issue if you don't represent us. And that's real deal. And these players go and they say that. They're saying about, man, when you go down to New Orleans, bro, if you represent, they're going to get you, you're going to have your back. But boy, if you don't, and that's fair. You can't ask me to I'm not making no excuses for no grown ass man that's making $150 million. When you collected that, you got to show up. The man did not show up. He did not. So thus, whatever you get, you get. You can't come around here without that, man. That's just, and everybody knows that ain't just indicative of New Orleans. That's everywhere. If you show up and you go somewhere and you underperform and you making that kind of money, man, them people going to hang you out to dry, man. They're going to tear you up, and they justify it because of the money. If you getting that kind of money and ain't showing no success, man, they're going to give it to you every bit of the way, and you just bow your head and take it gracefully. Don't sit up here and talk about they hating. Now, you're not winning, so they're going to take it to you, and they are supposed to, because you're not representing the correct way. I don't know who these people think they are that won't come down here and use the Saints as a subsidy. We're not interested in subsidy. We're not. We're only interested in winning. That's why we so hardcore on the team. And this is a disrespect to all the who that's out there. We don't want to lose to Carolina or the Falcons or any of these other teams. We feel like we should be a lot better than what we are. And we are going to hold you to that standard. Like it or lump it. If you want this money, you're going to be held to it. And they don't like it because they don't know shit about accountability. They don't know nothing about being accountable. So you got to teach them with the money. That's how you got Dennis Allen out of here. That's why you got David Griffin out of here. That's how it work. How dare these people? Dr. Gray says 3 to 5 wins. Thank you, Dr. Gray. Shout out to you, my brother. Brian says 10. V. Griffin says 10. Okay. Laura, shout out to Laura, says 7. All right. What's up, fam? Thank you, bro. Say what's up. What's happening with you, my brother? How you feeling? All right. Mark says 8 to 10. All right. Bev says 9 wins. Okay. Thank you, Beverly. Shout out to you for that. All right. What else? Who else got something for me? 223 fam. What's up, brother? Says 10 wins. All right. All right. Much love. Brother Gundam believes they'll be 10-7 this year. Okay. All right. Pelicans Nola says 11-6. Yes, indeed. All right. Jerry Covington. What's up, my brother? Says Caesar Salad got beat down by Jalen Davis. Man, he had him going backwards all game. That's what I'm saying. Cesar Ruiz. Man, whoever the new offensive line coach, please recognize and watch film on Cesar Ruiz. Please watch Cesar Ruiz and make him become more consistent. He needs to get stronger. His footwork needs to get better. I'm just really puzzled by Cesar Ruiz. I really am. It's everybody else you can look at and say they're young developing players. McCoy's issues is health. He was hurt a couple of times last year. Came back, he was out for 8 games, came back. played a few more games, and then he was out for the rest of the year. In some kind of way, collected an All-Pro invitation. I don't know how that worked, but the rest of these guys are, you can give them some grace, but Cesar Ruiz, to me, man, dude, there ain't no excuse for that, for real. All right, let's see. Brother Duke says, I agree with you on Ruiz. He should be the top. I'm telling you, whoever the offensive line coach is, well, I forgot the man's name, but you need to focus on Cesar Ruiz. I know you might not know him, but you need to watch tape on who your offensive lineman is, who your starters are. We know what we got in McCoy. You just need to get him healthy and get a really good backup who's just as smart as him. So if he goes down, they got a guy that can come in and run that offense, who can call out the protection. That's where they failed last year. They didn't even have a backup center. This time around, you see them fix that. They got Will Clapp here, who plays the center position. Will Clapp is intelligent. So we'll see if he can retain a lot of the information that McCoy did. But please study up on Cesar Ruiz. Please look at the film on Cesar Ruiz with an open and honest eye about Cesar Ruiz. He's not as good as you would want him to be. I mean, he should be a lot better than this. He gets beat a lot. He's at times he's lost weight. Sometimes he looks dominant, but it's way too inconsistent, and people give him grace. They really do. He gets the Grace Jones Award. That's what the hell he gets. The Grace Jones Award, like a dog. All right, Ender Groove says, haters gonna hate. Amen. Yes, indeed. Duke says exactly that is fair. Saints fans are high IQ, expect professional elite football, and we expect wins. You'll be considered a hater for wanting your team to win. I got some people, I've been fighting them, not fighting them, but I've been going railing against that narrative for I don't know how long. About this fan thing. Like, okay, you want a fan, but at the same time, just don't leave your brain back there. Bring it with you. That type of thing. We don't pay for bad product. Like we don't, you don't give you give bad service, or you, as terrible as what you are. No, we don't give money away for bad. No, you that's my mentality. I always thought like that. I never bought into none of that nonsense. I really haven't. That's why I always talk about you have the control over what's happening. People saying, nah, you just got to put up with it. I said, that's bullcrap. Last year, you showed what you can do. It wasn't Mickey that fired Dennis Allen. It was you, because the people was upset to the point where they're going to stop promoting or going to the games, and she couldn't have that. So she put that guy in the street. It wasn't Mickey. And shout out to the journalists that told you it was the Saints supporters. I told y'all had power over this whole thing, because they want your money. They want your money. You're going to give us a good product. And we'll see what they got going on this year. All right, 10 says, let me get your name right there. It's Arthenic. I hope I got that right, brother. I'm known to kind of scramble up names every now and again. Jaden says 7 and 10. L-Dub says, can't wait till the day comes when Loomis announces he retires. Yes, indeed. Yeah, we kind of done with him too. Brother Gregory says 10 and 7. Brother Tyrone says 8 wins. Okay, it's all over the place, fam. Y'all got very diverse thinking on this schedule, on this thing. All right, Brother Vernon says 10 and 7. Thank you, Vernon. All right, son of God, shout out to you. Salute to you, my friend. Appreciate you being in here. That's right, one. Yeah, that's right. The Grace Jones Award, man. I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing, looking at Grace Jones. Boy. Back in the day, y'all remember Grace Jones? I don't want to talk about nobody. All right. Yeah, what's up, Leslie? Says, I think they'll be a lot better than people think. Yeah. Okay, good, man. I'll be butchering people's names, man. I try not to, man, All right, Dr. Gray says offensive coaching was terrible. He says that will definitely improve this year. Yeah, and that's something to kind of talk about too. Like with Kellen Moore, I think a lot of the angst in Who That Nation was the whole Derek Carr thing. What's happening in the cloud, this type of thing. But with him retiring, that gave the Saints their money back for next year, helping them out there, as well as it took off all of the cloud. It was a big stinking cloud over the team. Now we can see the team for what it is. It's a young team, young quarterbacks competing with the talent that we have. We need a few pieces here and there. If we'll see with Kellen Moore, what kind of offense he established, I think he'll have a good offense, someone that focuses on running the football and stuff like that. looking forward to that. And I think that's what a lot of the Who Dat Nation was, the angst was because of the murkiness of the QB position. But now that it's cleared, I think we are headed in the right direction. So I'm not really going to be down on the Saints this year in terms of, because you never know what's going to happen. But it's very interesting because, like I said, the Saints are not a burnt out creator team. I keep saying that because it's true. If Kellen Moore can come in here and run the football, set up the offensive line where we can run the football effectively and give Tyler or Spencer, whoever's a quarterback, an opportunity to see the field and, to make plays, I think the Saints will be all right. Defensively speaking, going from a 34 to a 43, how do they look there? How do they look there? See, it's so many great changes that's coming to the team. You're like, damn, it's so many. We got young quarterbacks at the top of the team that's going to bring a fresh energy. We got good draft picks, Devin Neal, Kevin Banks Jr., Danny Stutzman, Quincy Riley. You got some of these guys, and then you mix them in with Elvin and Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, and hope Jawan Johnson getting his money. Maybe he could step his game up to being a top 10, top 12 tight end in the game. Him getting that money, the Saints line solidifying so we can run the ball. You never know what that looks like. And then like I said, the defensive switch is really something to just like that. I ain't gonna lie. That is my number one. Like, I know people want to see Kellen Moore's offense, but to me, the defense, I'm a defensive guy, but I'm just saying the switch from 43 to 34. I'm like, damn, that's going to be who's going to, this type of thing. Seeing who's going to rise to the challenge. How does that look? Because Brian Bresee is perfect for that 3-4 end. They got Vernon Brockton. At first, I was like, I don't know about Vernon Brockton. Maybe he could have been there, a pick later, whatever the case may be, round later. But as I started to really study the film on Vernon Brockton, the big defensive lineman out of Texas, when I looked at Brockton's film, I was like, damn, this guy. Because you got to understand, these big guys, like you have with Brian Bresee and Vernon Brockton, they're big guys, right? They're 300-pounders. And you need them type of ends in that 34 line row. You need those kind of big guys that can move as well as, because it's 3 against 5. So two guys got to draw a double team, and whoever else is free, they got to fire off and get pressure. We know Brian Bresee's MO is that he going to get to you. Brian Bresee's a fool with it. We've seen what he can do there. Brockton is another guy, incredibly violent hands, moving around, turning, twisting, bending, lives in the backfield, the nose tackle position with the man from the New England Patriots comes in, and people's like, they're not, but listen, fam, let me just say this too, as I get back to the chat. The getting him from New England, Saints traded to get that guy. And I'm telling y'all, we talked about this a while ago, but do not underestimate them doing that. Because even though he doesn't have a big name, if you look at the tape on him, he's incredibly productive. And the fact that he plays all of the games, he don't miss many games. If you look at his statistics, he's in there battling against the double teams constantly. There's a reason why this guy could be one of them top defensive acquisitions of the year when it all comes down to it, because that has to work. You operated so much pressure on those 3 ends up front. Those guys have to do their jobs to allow the linebackers to either blitz or drop into coverage. That's how that 3-4 system works. They have to be able to keep the 5 offensive linemen busy. If they don't, trouble start happening, just to put it lightly. But it is incredibly interesting. Like my optimism, even though it might be cautious, is okay because of the fact that you have a rookie head coach, a rookie quarterback, or a second-year quarterback there, a defensive switch from 43 to 34 to see if they can figure it out. So there's going to be something going on there. But I do feel that they are headed in the right direction. Do you guys feel that? Maybe I should put up a poll, man, so you guys can kind of fit in, because y'all are all over the place with these predictions in terms of what do you guys believe how many games the Saints win this year. I've heard 11, I've heard 10, I've heard 7, I've heard 6, I heard 5, I heard 3. Hold on, let me put a poll question up for you guys because I really want to know. Let me see. Hold on, give me a second, fam. Let me put this poll up here. All right, hold on. Put it up here. So let me see how many games y'all think the Saints win this year. All right, hold on. Yeah. See. Hold on, goddammit. All right, hold on. All right. All right. All right. Y'all please do me a service and answer this poll. The poll is up. Y'all do me a service. Hit that poll up and let me know. How many games do you think the Saints win this year? Because we've gotten to the end of the draft, the undrafted situation. We've even seen the makings of potentially what the team is looking like, right? We see where the defense is pointed. We've seen where the offense is going without Carr involved. He's retired. All right. Gundam says it's an easy schedule, Q. Okay. All right. I hear you, brother. Is there such a thing? Is there such a thing? Is there such a thing as an easy schedule? What's up, DeWright? Shout out to my brother. He said he said that's 3 and 4 gonna be nasty. Yes, indeed, brother. Clint, what's up? Clint says Brockton can move. Gonna play that third. Yeah, Brockton, bro. Y'all, if y'all haven't seen the tape. Oh yeah, he says Grace and yeah, wasn't that scary, Clint? Oh my goodness. Boy, Grace Jones was scary. She was scary in Conan. She was scary in Boomerang. She just back in it. She just was scary, period.
He ain't lying.
I'm gonna just be honest with you all the way around, brother. Oh my God. Let's just say if you was going to a dark alley and you needed help, I think you should call Grace Jones and tell her, come on and bring that damn spear she was carrying in Conan and tell her, bring that on with you. Oh my God. All right. Joseph says 2 and 15. All right. Thank you, Joseph. Shout out to you, brother. Appreciate you there for that. All right. Yeah. You right on that, brother. What's up, brother Jay? How you doing, sir? I'm doing well, my friend. Appreciate you being here. What's up, Sydney? Shout out to Sydney. We have another defensive tackle we drafted last year. We're getting younger. Yeah, the D you're talking about. Yeah, they still have a couple of guys. Yeah, outside of the guys, you talk about Brian Brissy and Vernon Brockton. The getting Divine Gacho here. John Ridgway, who we traded for, is another big guy. Christian Boyd from Northern Iowa was a guy that I thought should have had more minutes last year, but he couldn't quite get the time because Ridgway was in his way. But Christian Boyd's another guy that was pretty good. He can fit that nose tackle role. So yeah, we do have some interesting players to see, who fits where and how. So we'll see how it all goes, All right. Thank you, Sydney. Shout out to you as well. All right. Y'all, what's up, OG? OG says 4 and 13. Shout out to you, my man. Appreciate you. Son of God says, who is the tight end number 2 behind JJ when the season? That is going to be Foster Monroe, my brother. Foster Monroe, Taysom Hill. I think, like I said, Taysom plays the tight end position, but Mickey Loomis said Taysom would not be ready right away, right? He said it's going to be a while. So we don't see Taysom Hill. I don't think Taysom Hill is going to be ready to probably later on in the year, like maybe later, past the halfway point of the year. Maybe he had that horrific leg injury. So, and that's what they asked about Taysom, and Mickey Loomis did give you that giblet of information, like, hey, he's not going to be ready right away. So that means Foster Monroe will be the backup tight end to Juwan Johnson, and then behind him, you have Jake Stahl, the tight end that they picked up from. I think he was with the Eagles last year. He's not a guy. Here he is, right here. I got the stuff peeled, but this is the guy they picked up, and they signed 6'4", 250 from Nebraska, and he been played in 22 career catches, no touchdowns, but he averaged almost 9 yards a catch. Doing so mostly as a backup tight end at 27 years old. But they see this guy as a guy that can do different things for him. But this would be our third tight end with Taysom. And of course, there are other guys there too to talk about, like that are practice squad tight ends that we ultimately will see. But as of right now, that's what we're looking at. All right, thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Picking me up, bringing me back to this world.
That's right, Dr. Key. Something like that for Taysom Hill, but I don't think they put him in the street. And people saying trade him. I don't think you ain't going to be able to trade him because he's not healthy, and I don't think he'll be healthy enough to be traded by the time the trade deadline come along. But we'll see how it goes. That was a horrible leg injury, the Taysom Hill, and it was because of that. They kept overusing him. It's sad. But in the end, it is what it is. All right. Shout out to brother Dwayne, 3565, checking us out on Instagram. I see you, brother. Much love to you over there. All right. And the rest of the fam chiming in on X or all other platforms with live stream. What's up, Randy? Shout out to Randy there. Shout out to you. David says that I'm surprising 10-7 boys let the good times roll. Carr is out of here. All right. Yes. There's still a lot of joy and happiness, man. All right, everybody knocking us. He's for not drafting Shador, but what if show look a lot better than him? It could be, man. I think the thing was a lot of people didn't see him there because, see, this is, let me tell you something, fam. We know this, and this is Saints propaganda. This is some of the crap, because if you listen to the draft, the stuff that they say, over time, as long as, go back to even last year or the year before that, there's a plus point on the tall quarterback, right? Even though the Saints did not prioritize tall quarterbacks, right? We didn't have super tall quarterbacks. Now you have Jameis what, 6'3", 6'4". I'm talking about the drafting of those guys. You had some guys that picked up, but a lot of the Saints drafted quarterbacks. What Book was like, 6'1", this type of thing. They didn't prioritize the size of the quarterback. When you talk about scouting those players, you can look at the knock on Tyler was the fact that now that he played 7 years in college, is what did he do in the time? He was hurt with collarbone issue. He had a collarbone breakdown. He had a tore up shoulder. He had a broken leg. He missed 3 years of the 7 with injuries. Out of all of the years he played, out of the 7 years, he had 1 year, which was the last year at Louisville, where he had decent production. He had 20-something touchdowns against 3 or 4 or 5 interceptions. He had a good year, his best year as a quarterback. He was going to be 26. The red flag is that his injury history is a major red flag for the Saints because the Saints are not good with that. They're not good with injured players. Not saying that he's injured now because he's not. But I'm saying that history is a red flag. 3 years with those type of issues, that's a red flag. The age is a red flag. The 1 year of production was a red flag because they used the same damn measurements against other quarterbacks in the draft. After year and a year, they'll tell you the same thing. They'll hit you with the red flags. But some reason why they forgoed all of the red flags, which these are red flags, by the way, and said, nah, this is the guy. Okay, fine. He's your guy. Now, outside of me saying that, and the fact that with those red flags is why you don't reach to him, just like Jackson Dart was not listed as a first-round pick. The Giants jumped up there and went and got him and made him that, just like Mitchell Trubisky wasn't a first-round pick. I told y'all that prior to the draft. I said there's always going to be teams that grab at these guys earlier than what they're supposed to because they perceive other teams wanting to get them at certain spots. So they don't want to. They're in a position where they don't want to trade down because they're thinking the team might get them, so they go and grab them. We've seen that happen with quarterbacks all the time. The guy has the size. He has the arm. He has an athletic degree, and he's healthy. Those are the positives right now. So forego the red flags in terms of the fact that before you draft him, they said those were not a problem. Now that he's here, he has to jump in there and get it going right away because of his age. It'll be different. Don't make them think it, believe that it's not. If he was 23, this would be different. There will be more of a patient approach, but the guy's 26, which means he got to go right now. So don't think for a second they're not going to tilt that room toward him, you know? So it works out that Derek Carr is gone, because if he was here and healthy, then the Tyler move would be like, why are you doing this? But if they feel like he's ready to go right away and forego all those red flags, okay, let's go. Let's see what he got. Because outside of that, if you can protect them, but I can say the same thing about Spencer Rattler, that if you can protect these guys and let them see the field, that they will scramble around, they will make plays, they will do a good job, but you got to give them a running game. You got to give them protection. And that's how you got to roll this thing. So we, like, I like his skill set, but we'll, like I said, tall quarterback that can see the field. He looks confident. Let's keep him upright and protect him and give him a running attack. So with that being said, the Shador and all this other stuff, that's all done and out of the way. The decision has been made, and we just need to see what Tyler could do for you in the Black and Gold Nation, right? So we'll just be patient on that. All right. So yeah, Dr. Gray asking now. I don't think they get rid. No, they're not gonna get rid of him, bro. They're gonna hold on to him because I don't think he'll be healthy enough. We'll see. Maybe he does heal, but for the trade deadline. But I don't see them trading Taysom Hill. I think they'll probably keep him because he's a good weapon. All right. Jerry says, Q, they don't know Ish from Shanghai. Okay. All right, OG, telling them. All right. So anyway, Beyond Realist is sorry, not too excited at all. That's all right, bro. You feel the way you feel. It's all right. Nobody gonna blame you to feeling. If you, however you feel, it's how you feel, my friend. This is a no judgment zone. We're not gonna be over here saying, you should feel like this. You should be excited. Some people are excited. Some people are, they on they show me stuff. I get it. However you are is what you are. We all good. Duke says all red flags. Is that, yeah, they do. You cannot espouse that, family. If you watch players, they've hit there are such things as red flags. There's also the red flags could be a weird criminal history. Like if you had a situation where you had something going on with one of these players and a girl, that'll drop your stock. It depends. They're red flags. Like if you up and down play history, injuries, a criminal past, weird stuff going on, this type of thing, those are considered red flags. So it's really up to the team to decide whether or not the red flag is worth it. But the talent, does the man have the talent to play the QB position outside of the perceived red flags? He does. He does have the talent. He has the arm. He has the ability to stand tall in the pocket. But guess what? The position is not his yet. There's another guy named Spencer Rattler and Jake Haener. We know Spencer probably be the guy that Spencer Rattler is going to give him everything that he got. So I'm really looking forward to see the little competition between Tyler and Spencer Rattler for the QB job. And we heard the head coach make mention of the competition at the quarterback level with Kellen Moore, making mention of the competition. Will it be a fair competition? We'll see. But it's a lot of pressure on you to get this guy in there. We'll see what happens with it. All right. What's up, Kevin? Yeah. Oh, yeah. No doubt about it, man. No doubt about it. You can't forego. That's just common sense, man. When you scout people, there are red flags involved. But I think the man do have the talent to play. We just need to keep him upright. Jaden says, Q, I'm excited for the new 34 defense, and the 34 defense is going to be awesome. I'm excited for this new defense and this new offense. I'm pumped for this. What about you, Big Q? You excited? I am excited about the 34. Listen, I know Kellen Moore, has to run the ball. I know his focus is on running the football, right? To get the play action going, to get into the offense and all this kind of stuff. I know he has a good offensive mind. And the great part about it is he has Alvin Kamara, Chris Olave, and all these other guys. He has guys that'll be ready to go for his scheme fit, whatever he's doing. I know there's going to be excitement there. Being that I'm a defensive-minded guy, I'm really interested to see with the transition 40 through the 43 to the 34 defense with all these players moving around. I am really excited to see how that looks because y'all know the 34 defense is. We posted that when we had the great guys, and I ain't gonna compare this defense to them, but that's the last time I recollected mine. We had the 34 with the Dome Patrol, which was the best defense in NFL history. Mike Singletary said that. I even remember guys like Lawrence Taylor was talking about that. Like, man, that Saints defense, man. If they had an offense, they would have won a couple of Super Bowls. That's what Mike Singletary said about the Saints. So that's what I'm looking forward to. All right. LVL says, truth be told, our offense wasn't bad as the D. All right. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you for that. All right. Y'all hit the poll up, fam. I'll get ready to end the stream. But listen, I want y'all to do me a service. Please feel free to hit that poll. Hit the like button if you haven't hit the like button. We got 170 something people in the building across several different platforms. Please feel free to hit the like button, share, and if you're not a sub up, and do me a service. If you're listening on other platforms, kind of shift over to YouTube. And I don't think you guys get the poll where you are, but hit the poll up and tell me how many wins you perceive the Saints getting this year. We've seen the unofficial depth chart I showed you. We see what the Saints have got going on. Y'all show me or tell me by voting in the poll, how many wins do you think the New Orleans Saints shall get? Y'all put it. What's up, Jay Survivor? Shout out to you, man. All right. What's up, Brandon? Brandon, shout out to you as well. All right. Pelican Nola said, I'm excited to see linebacker from, Stutzman. Danny Stutzman played for the Saints. Yeah, this is going to be fun too. And interesting as well. All right, y'all do me that service. And while we got that going on, we're going to transition. I'm going to listen to, this was a little bit from Kellen Moore yesterday, fam, as he was talking about with Derek Carr retiring. I'm going to hear a little bit of what he was talking about yesterday on here. Here we go.
As we've gone through this whole offseason, Derek's had to go through a lot just as you go through this process. And, I was making the decision ultimately to retire from the National Football League after an 11-year career. I mean, first of all, you respect and appreciate so much that Derek's done in this league, and for the way he's done it, the on the field performance, the off the field person that he's showcased, and the impact he's had on so many people in this profession is really, really special. And so certainly, coming here, I've always had so much respect and appreciation for him. And as we've gone through this process, obviously this is how it kind of ultimately was settled. It was really good communication through the whole process as far as navigating this. Again, challenging circumstances with him being injured at the end of the year, and then just kind of navigating things throughout the whole offseason process. And so, I think, Derek, the people that are part of his life have communicated really well with the Saints. I think there's been really good communication. So, we feel like it was done the right way.
When did you find that retirement was an option?
Yeah, obviously that just kind of came down at this point. Obviously, we were more aware of the injury, recently. And so as you go through that process, again, there's personal components to this that, you want to respect people's process as they go through this. These are challenging circumstances for families. And, Derek's been great through this whole process. Sorry, say again?
Retirement decision that came down the last few days or the last week?
Yeah, again, he's kind of communicated mostly with Mickey and those guys as we've gone through this process. And, obviously the last few days, they had those communications and those conversations and made this ultimate decision that felt best for them.
Is it nice to maybe know, again, obviously it's a personal decision, but from your standpoint, that there is clarity now and you know potentially what you have, what you get this offseason going forward?
Certainly, as you go through this process, every player goes through a lot of challenges during the offseason program. A lot of guys, play NFL seasons and they're hard and they're grinding, and guys go through those recovery processes. We got a lot of guys who are going through injury recoveries as we go through this, and so Derek's just like those guys. Obviously, the clarity will provide some of those younger quarterbacks a chance to just get ready from a rep standpoint and opportunity standpoint, and obviously those guys will be ready and fired up for that. Again, I feel like it's gone the right way, and it's been a good process.
How much did this really factor in the drafting Josh in the second round? The possibility of retiring?
Certainly, as we went through the draft process, we certainly felt like adding a quarterback to that room would have been very valuable under all circumstances. And certainly, as Derek's injury became something, obviously there's a little bit more awareness to it. But we were navigating it originally with that plan of if someone fell into a situation that the board fell and that player presented itself, we'd be ready to take a quarterback in a number of situations and cases. And so, certainly we felt like it played out pretty well for us.
Do you feel like you guys kind of what we saw today, just trying out at every spot and see where it fits right?
Yeah. Kelvin's going to play a couple of different positions as we go, just kind of let these guys get settled. I think for us, it's just seeing these guys in different body positions. And so certainly he went across the offense line today, and we'll narrow that focus as we go through this process. I think for a lot of our guys, every position, we're trying to expose them to a couple different spots, a couple different environments, and just see how they respond. And then we'll settle in as we go.
Will you do the same thing with Tyler Florida? Will he play both sides too?
We'll go through that. This is more like the rookie minicamp focus of these guys, just exposing them to a bunch of different spots, let those guys go. And then, we got a couple weeks here as we kind of transition to phase 3 shortly.
Look at them like you said, get on the field with position, actually, go through a practice with with you guys and how things are coming together?
It's been great. This thing ultimately doesn't. It feels like a desk job. The first few months, just all the off the field stuff that you're kind of navigating as you go through the draft process, building the roster, building the staff. And so at the end of the day, we all love being out there with the players and helping these guys become the best version of themselves. It was a lot of fun.
So the quarterback position as it stands right now. You lose a veteran. Is that a spot that you may look at addressing in the next few weeks?
We'll certainly have awareness to it. I think there's a number of positions on our roster that as you go through it, we're kind of at that 90 mark now. And so now you're navigating, okay, what veterans are available, what guys were just in our camp that we feel really good about, maybe giving them an extended opportunity as we go through this process. We know this roster will move certainly in the next couple weeks as you kind of finish the OTA phase of this thing. And so, we have 3 quarterbacks right now. Certainly in a lot of cases you have 4, not always, but certainly we're ready if the opportunity presents itself. Yes. Yeah. He was just navigating a pre-existing thing that felt like a procedure to allow itself to just get ahead of it.
Was that relevant to the ankle injury that he experienced during his final season?
No.
What that surgery? Go ahead. That surgery after the draft.
Yeah. They just went through a little medical thing. So
I know that every situation is different, it's personal, but you were a player in this league, you have made a decision to retire. Maybe do you reach out to Derek, do you talk to him about, obviously it's a life-changing decision, that is going to change what he does, and you at 1.2.
Certainly everyone goes through this process in their career. Everyone wants to be an NFL football player. And for the guys that get to do it, it's incredible. It's an incredible experience, and there's nothing like it. Naturally, everyone has to transition at some point to something else. Certainly we're all, are there for Derek in any way we can possibly help as he goes through this process. But, he's been phenomenal through this thing. I think this whole organization thinks the world of him, feels great. Feels like he'll, whatever his next step is, it'll be an incredible experience.
This is the difference in area for you. When you were in Dallas, you had Dak Prescott. LA, you had Justin Herbert, and Philly, you had Jalen Hurts. Now that you don't have a solidified answer at quarterback, how different is that deal for you?
It's certainly different just from a rep standpoint. Obviously, a lot of times the offseason program, you're kind of focused on building one guy up for the regular season and allowing the young guys to develop and see where those positions lie. We'll rotate all these guys. We'll give them all opportunities. We'll I think this whole process we'll be very patient with it and make sure all these guys get the chances to compete at a really high level.
I know it's early in the process, but what are your thoughts?
Tyler hopped in here and did an excellent job. For all these guys, a lot of times the rookie minicamp, we're not as concerned about the physical component. We've probably evaluated that. We see it on the field a little bit, but just how they're prepared mentally, thought he's done an excellent job. For these quarterbacks, a lot of times, really what you care about is how they command the huddle, command the whole operation when they come in here. Because it's a new system, it's new language, all those things associated with it. He hopped in here and really did an excellent job just taking control of it.
So what are some of the basic things that you can see, all of these players here at rookie minicamp?
Yeah, rookie minicamp. I think a lot of it is, again, we've seen a lot of the physical components. We certainly do like seeing them move around and play football finally for an example. But a lot of it's about the classroom, the mental side of this thing, creating really good habits. Again, we were not out there very long. We had 2 7-on-7 periods, one each day. That was really the only component that was somewhat competitive. We really want to put these guys in position that Monday they get into the offseason program with the veterans and they can just go and hopefully put them in a position to be successful, that they can build off of this weekend and put them in position to compete, during the phase 3 components, just from a drill work standpoint, and get them ready for training camp.
Are you already looking at Tyler Shuck as your starter for 2025, or do you expect a competition with him?
No, all 3 quarterbacks. We're going to let all 3 of these guys roll, and they've all earned these opportunities. We'll let Jake, Spencer, and Tyler, all 3 kind of go through this process. Again, we'll play patience, let these guys compete, let them get into training camp, and naturally these guys will kind of take care of itself.
Kevin, you had a good time to spend here in the city. What have you learned since you've been here about the fan base?
Yeah, just an incredible city, really incredible state. I've had so much fun here as our family's kind of spent the last month and a half finally settling in here. It's a really fun place. It's a great community. Quickly you recognize, the impact that the people have on this community. Cam, seeing Cam get honored the other day was a really cool experience for me just to see, the impact that these guys have on this community and vice versa. That's a really special thing about this place. And so I've been here as a fan and an opponent, and those are always unique experiences. Now I'm excited to join up on this community and do this thing together.
Hey man, I like what I'm hearing from Kellen Moore. I like it, and of course it helps him out a lot. The fact that he has his quarterback, and it's something when I listen to Kellen Moore and look at him, ask not what you can do for. I don't mind, but anyway, the reality is this: I do think that he will bring an offensive brand here, a very exciting brand of ball. We'll see how it all works. You got the young quarterback, you got the young coach. And like I said, you heard what the man said about Spencer Rattler, and he even mentioned Jake Hayner. He just threw him in there because he was in the quarterback room. Oh, yeah, Jake Hayner too. But outside of that, man, that's an interesting battle that, a lot of people want to see. It's probably like the highest or the highest ranked battle like the CN camp would be, Tyler versus Spencer for the QB job, right? And we know Spencer has been like really working this whole time, and if you like what we seen when Spencer took on Jake Hayner last year, right? Jake had the extra year on him. Spencer came in, quick study to the game, and just literally he beat the brakes off of Jake Hayner in the minicamp, in the camp, and then preseason to take the job away from him. It wasn't fair. We know it wasn't done fairly. And I think he would have had his first win of the season if he would have started that matchup in which they had Jake Hayner in there, and Jake Hayner was dead as a doornail. He was dead as a doorknob in there. And Spencer came in the second quarter in with the second half of the game with the same people and almost won the game. He probably would have got his first win had he started. But with that being said, it was just the progression, seeing Jake Hayner and Spencer Rattler compete during the preseason and ultimately how Spencer Rattler was able to defeat him and move ahead in terms of progression. And it'll be interesting to see how that looks with him having a full year under his belt with Tyler, because he does have the advantage. Like last year, maybe not so because Hayner had a year of NFL experience. That's supposed to count for something, right? But he has the year on Tyler. So, that to me is probably the most interesting battle that's going to be coming up here at the quarterback position, which I am, Jaden, very excited about that. I'm not going to say I'm very excited about that battle because I think that's iron sharpening iron right there. Because I think the Tyler kid has some talent, but Spencer is going to challenge you, baby. So that's going to be fun to watch. And then then I go defense, and then maybe the punter battle, because I like that punter from Alabama, Burnup. I think he'll be your new starting punter for a long time. That guy, 6'6", 200 something odd, 230, 240, and could punt the ball, hang time out of the chain with the punting. He won't be able to get no returns on it. Good directional, puts it inside the 20. So it's some battles that you want to look at, but early on, that one right there is the one that I think a lot of the Who Dat Nation is going to be focusing on right there for real. All right, yeah, that's it. So he still got a lot of this interview left, but we're not going through the entire thing. We just gonna stop right there. If y'all want to hear the rest of it, y'all could probably check it out online. Jay Survivor says no tanking here. We got to beat the brakes off ATL Carolina and split with Tampa. I'm going to go sweeps. But like I said, it's tough because you don't know what it's going to look like. I do think Kellen Moore having the chance to have these young quarterbacks, that provides a whole nother energy to the thing. Having him to have his own people in there operating and, that type of thing. Because I do ultimately see we do have certain offensive linemen. He's saying he was cross-training to see what Kevin Banks Jr., where he's going to go. Rumor mill is they talking about shifting the tackles, which I wouldn't be mad at. That was something that they talked about before, which is shifting Tolly over here and putting Kevin at the blind side. We do need need to improve the offensive line. I thought the offensive line, and we need to fortify with depth as well. Dwayne says, Coach Payton used to say, look and listen at every phase of the conversation. Coach Moore uses the phase process a lot. Process us another Super Bowl. Who that to you? All right. What's up, T Dirty? Shout out to my brother T Dirty, man. Much love to you, my brother. Appreciate you, man, for stopping by. Much love to brother T Dirty. Mr. O Universe says DA and Carr ain't here to protect Jake from State Farm. There you go, man. It's that's over with. And I think that's the great part about it, because it represented the losing way. You don't, get this young coach in here and keep this other guy here. Let him get who he wants to have here, so he runs the system that he wants to run. So it ultimately worked out in the end. It took us a while to get there, but we ultimately we got there, right? All right, Gundam says Spencer stands tall in the pocket. If he worked on his middle field accuracy, then it's a wrap. Rattler all day. We'll see what because he been working in off. I seen some footage of him working at Saints camp, him working his ass off. So I'm very excited to see what the kid's gonna be. All right, what's up, Willie? Shout out to Willie, man. How you been, man? He said, I told you that Carr was, you know what, but you didn't listen to me. Who didn't listen to you about Carr being trash, bro? People been saying that for a while, Willie. He says, I've told y'all about the Pelicans and the Saints and y'all wouldn't listen to me, but now I'm right. How you love that. Let's give Willie a round of applause, man.
Talk, boy.
All right. Shout out to Willie, man. Willie be listening, man. Shout out to Willie, man. All right. Jay says Kamara going to quietly be a leading team MVP candidate. I want to see Kamara get that 1,000-yard season, man. That's what I want to see from AK-41. I want to see him get it for the first time. He wanted to get it last year. I guess he was too hurt to come back. The Rook 10 says 94% Tyler Shue is the starter unless he's pure trash. Okay, we'll see. Well, Kellen said it could be smoke and mirrors, right? He just says that just to say it because he had to, right? There's going to be a competition. But like I said, if it's close, they're going to go with Tyler, no doubt about it, right? They're going to tilt the room in his favor. That's his quarterback. Like the last 3 years, the Saints have taken quarterbacks in the draft every year. You know, they took Jake with Pete Carmichael. They took Spencer with Clint Kubiak. And now they take Tyler with Nussmeier. So every year they've taken a quarterback. This is their guy. Spencer understands that. So we'll see if, and if he doesn't win the job and it's competitive, then that means we just got two really good quarterbacks there, right? So I think we win either way, to be honest with you. Richard says, Q, I'm just happy for the era to be done. If we suck, we suck. Let's move forward. When we went 3-13 in 2005, there's no way I thought we would be in the NFC Championship the next year. Who that? Thank you, Richard. Appreciate you, man. All right. Much love on that, brother. All right. Willie come in. Willie be lurking, man. All right. Maul says, still the Aints. LOL. I'm not a fan. I'm grown up and I'm not stuck on stupid. What did Emperor Nero say? What did he say? Put it in the chat, Molly. What did Emperor, wouldn't he say the Emperor has no clothes? Wasn't that the same guy? The Emperor has no clothes. Is that what you're saying? Put it in the chat, Molly. Molly V. Williams. All right. Yes, indeed. All right. And listen, fam, also, y'all hit the poll question up. Let me know how many wins you think the Saints are going to get so far. We got well over 100 people voted on the poll. If you haven't gotten a chance to vote on the poll, let me know how many wins you think the Saints are going to get. The options are 12 or more, 10 or 11, 9 or 8, or 7 or lower. Those are the 4 options currently available in the chat. So y'all, in the poll question, y'all answer that poll question and y'all let me know how many wins do you think the Saints get this season, and we'll see. All right. Jay Survive also says young guy's going to push him back to elite type production. All right. T Dirty says I'd rather suck with a young buck than an old truck. All right. Okay. Now, but at some point we had to get to this point. That's what I'm saying. I'm a rookie head coach, young quarterbacks. This was something the Saints were supposed to do a couple years back. Draft a quarterback and then play behind them to gain success. For whatever reason, it felt like we was running from that, right? Getting a good quarterback and playing behind the guy. Text Saint says, who that Q? Shout out to you, bro. Says one more to go. Mickey Carr left because DA isn't going to shield for him. And that's another thing. Mickey Loomis was responsible for all of this nonsense. If we were a competent and logical and accountable organization, Mickey Loomis would have been demoted. But we are not. We have somebody running a team that don't know nothing about it. And the problem is they keep over relying on the wrong people. And that's the biggest criticism I can say about the Saints and Pelicans organization. The Pelicans did a good thing by bringing in Joe Dumars. Joe Dumars is now bringing in his own people in the top of the organization. But he was not allowed to fire Willie Green. Even David Griffin last year wanted to fire Willie Green, and Gail Benson, for whatever non-logical reason, stepped in there and told him no. Don't understand. That'll make any sense. The guy lost his team, lost his locker room. She don't understand that. She just is on this thing about Willie Green's a nice man. He's such a nice man. Same thing she said about Elvin Gentry. And I say history repeats itself. These people doing this stupidness. If you like the guy, make him the top guy that hands out tickets at the door. Give him a job where he's not hurting the team. If you like him that much, you make him the top video coordinator. I don't care what you do. Give him a job sweeping floors, whatever it is, but don't leave him at the position tearing up the team. I mean, for goodness sake. But that is what killed. That's what stopped the team. When you got people, they mixing in good people with productive people. Sometimes it's the same. Sometimes it's not. You might have a good person that do a shitty job. I'm just keeping it real all the way from you. Don't we know that person like that? They're a really good person, but they just do a really half-assed job. I mean, the person's really nice, but you just can't count on them to do a good full job. I'm just saying, don't pretend like it's just me. You know, y'all don't pretend. Y'all know y'all got people that y'all know, whether they family or friends or coworkers, that are really good people. They just do a really half-assed job. Like if you got somebody you work with and, you know, they really good person, really cool, but they'll mop with a sour mop, have everything stinking or whatever the case. They'll leave you with the work. You know, they're really cool, but they'll leave your ass with the work. I'm just saying this happens. So don't mix the two. That's why I be trying to tell people all the time. Who they are off the field or the court is not the same as what they do on the court. You're not paying them for who they are off. You're paying them for what they can be on the court, if they're productive or not. Are they making an impact? You know, so that's the thing. You got to be able to differentiate between the two. And we have a problem here with Gail Benson with his nice man stuff. Oh, he's such a nice man. All right, Gail. All right. If he's nice, like I said about Elvin Gentry, hand him out, let him hand out tickets. You know, hell, let him wear the Pelican costume or the Saints costume, Sir Saint, or let him put that on and run around and jump up and down. Like, give him a job. But don't let him foul up your team. And that's the problem we have. You can't at some point, just like you had a youth movement in the organization from the football level with the head coach and the quarterback, you got to eventually do that at the top of the organization. And she is the main reason why that's not going on. You don't stop if you bring a new guy like Joe for the Pelicans, you got to let him run out that other guy. He'll say, yeah, Willie Green's a good dude. He's saying that because he don't have the green light to get rid of Willie Green. The last guy wanted to get Willie Green, get rid of him. He lost the team. You got more credentialed people out there that can do a better job. You see what I'm saying? You just don't stop that. You know, it goes up an organization to a point and then it stops. Man, get out of here with that. You can't let Mickey Loomis sit up there until the Grim Reaper come and get his old dusty ass out of there. You can't let that happen. You know, that's the only way we're going to be able to get him out of there is the Reaper got to come knocking on the door. Hey, Mickey, it's time for you to go. Oh, my God. Oh, my now. Hold on. Who are you? I'm the Grim Reaper. I'm coming to pick your ass up, Mickey. Oh my God! Hold on now. Hold on. You just stay right there. Let me finish my orange juice. And hold on. I got this really good clam chowder right here. Just hold on right there. You know, just a second. You know, no. Is that the only way? Nah, man. Eventually, you got to make the decision, man, to get these people out of here because you did it right at the coaching level. You got to move. That guy allowed to make that was a horrible mistake. The Dennis Allen thing and the Derek Carr thing was awful. That would get your ass canned in many competent organizations. Just saying, man. The Saints really got lucky with the Derek Carr thing. They really did. Derek Carr retired. Whatever the reason was, that saved them a lot of money and a lot of shame because both of those were Mickey Loomis decisions. And then the cold-blooded part about it is, hey, baby, listen. I know I ain't going nowhere. Yeah, God damn it. Hold on now. I'll listen. I ain't going nowhere. I got this, baby. That's how that's how he does it. He ain't going nowhere. And that's a shame. And that's why I said Gail Benson eventually, man, if she don't, she need to get her ass out of the way, man. I'm sorry, man. Just get out of the way. All right. Anyway, man, good grief. All right. All right, Chantel, shout out to Chantel. I heard the Saints are in talks with Cleveland about one of our veteran quarterbacks. Yeah, shout out to you, Chantel. Yeah, they talking about supercharged Joe Flacco. Did I tell y'all last? Didn't I tell you? Or rather, Mickey Q told you, didn't he? Huh? What I told y'all. Chantel is making mention of the fact that there are rumors that the Saints are in talks for a certain quarterback on their roster who's a tall quarterback and a veteran. Didn't Mickey Q tell y'all ass that some time ago? What did he say, Tyler? What did he tell you that Tyler was? Huh? I said it to the NFC South. I said it to it prior to that. Huh? Yeah. Who did I tell you he was? Let's see if the family members remember who it was. Who was it? Okay, she's saying it's Kenny Pickett. I thought it was Flacco. I heard something about Flacco, Chantel. But we gonna go with you on that. Okay, she says Shador is going to be the starter for Cleveland. All right, Chantel, that's our team. Supercharged Joe Flacco. We'll see, because to me, and you know, it probably wouldn't make any sense, but it don't make no sense for it to be Kenny Pickett. You know, to me, it don't make any sense because, you know, how long Kenny Pickett been at? What, a year or two longer than the other guys? If it was going to be a veteran, it'd be an older guy, but perhaps it'll be a free agent. We'll see what it is. Yeah, supercharged Joe Flacco. Is he a supercharged Joe Flacco? I think he can move better than Joe. He got height on him, though. Rich says, Q, at this point, we forgot what winning looks like. After DA and Carr, we just have to trust more Super Bowl resume at this point. Listen, bro, I'm with you on that. Man, coming off that hot Super Bowl win, he got his quarterback as he wants him. He got a good team of people. The draft added some good talent to back up some of these guys. You're not going to truly appreciate this draft until next year. Watch. They got starters for next year. Danny Stutzman, Jonas Sinker, Quincy Riley. They got you're not truly gonna really respect this draft as much until next year. They got some really good players to replace the players that are leaving, like DeMario, Danny Stutzman, Tyrann Mathieu, Jonas Sinker. These are going to be good players. You're going to be like, damn, these guys. Yeah, they're going to step in next year when these guys go. You're going to really appreciate the draft even more. So thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank you very much. Picking me up.
Supercharged Joe Flacco. All right. She said they just traded for Pickett. He never started yet for Cleveland. They declined his 5th year deal. I could be wrong, but that's what the rumor is. Thank you, Chantel. Dropping the facts. Always giving us some good game on that. And we seem to have a connection with the Cleveland people, don't we? But she says Shador will be the starter. Is it Shador? You think Shador? Huh, Chantel, you think Shador is going to be the guy? What about Dylan Gabriel? Dylan Gabriel was taken ahead of him, Chantel. What you think about that? All right. Jaden says, Q, you think Kellen Moore's favorite word is process? I mean, he did use it a couple of times. Sean Payton used to use the term. What he used to say? He used to say a word and he used to say it wrong. He used to say, what would Sean Payton always say? Oh, man, I forgot the word he always used, but he would say it wrong. I forgot what it was. It's going to hit me later on. Watch. It's going to hit me. He always used to say a word, but I was like, that's not how you say that word. Y'all tell me, y'all probably know what it was. All right, T Dirty says, what's up, YO? Shout out to you. Says, long as Carr's going good or bad, I'm ready for the season. Now, yeah, a lot of people feel that way. It's no disrespect to Derek Carr. It's the fact that he was paired with Dennis Allen, and nobody likes Dennis Allen down here. Dennis Allen was so awful that a lot of the stink fell on Derek Carr. And it was just time for a change. I'm glad the man did it. All right. Shout out. Look at Swade, man. Shout out to my dog Swade. He said, all this shaw jobbing, shucking and driving. I think DC beat that to you. He beat that before you did it, bro. He said shucking and jiving. There you go. I know you was gonna say something. Shout out to my boy Suede out there, man. Shout out to Suede. All right. Big ups to my brother. All right. He says, yeah, Derek Carr thought Dennis Allen was a real dentist. All right. John says, watch how Kellen waves his hand like he's telling someone he don't want something because it's trash when he's talking about Carr retired. Well, he was going to give him some respect, on that. And it is what it is. All right. You know how it go, bro. Because Kellen Moore is not going to say nothing negative about nobody. He ain't going to do that. He going to keep it all, keep it positive. Is what he's supposed to do. He don't need to poke the man on out. That's why I ain't saying, the guy retired. And listen, a lot of people knew at some point he wasn't going to come back. I said it. A lot of the media people said, I don't think he comes back this year because it was a lot going on with Derek Carr, right? It was a lot going on with Derek Carr. He had stuff going on with his wife. And then listen, the way the Saints was losing, the fact that he was hurt. And listen, he was hurt. He played hurt. I think that was a bad look because they really kind of messed him up in that second year. Because Dennis Allen was playing the man hurt when he had Jameis Winston behind him. Could have let Derek Carr sit out some of those games, but they were just shooting the man up with painkiller. He had broken bones and all kinds of stuff going on with him. And they just shot him up with painkiller and then pushed him, wheeled him out there. His eyes was bucking. It was just, I was so upset about that whole situation, about how they said, you can say a lot of things about Derek Carr, but you can't call him soft because he played when he was hurt. He played when he was hurt. He didn't play well, but he played how he was supposed to play. That's why I say with him getting on out the way, he would have to come, if he was going to play, he would have to have the surgery. And then he probably would have missed all of 25. And then he would have came back for 2026. And by that time, you had already had one of these young quarterbacks as the team. So he would have to battle them to take the team back, and it'll have been a whole year. And then he would have to deal with all of the stuff that came with that, like competing with these young quarterbacks. And once these guys got the team for a full year, because I don't think he would have played this year if he would have not retired, then that would have been a whole nother thing. He would have to deal with competing with these younger guys who had a full year of that new system. I don't think that would have been too much. Plus the fact that if he'd have got in there and played poorly, then that would have been a whole nother thing as well. So just take your money and go. You got a lot of money from the Saints the first couple of years. You got $10 million this year. Got a lot of bread. You paid 11 years in the league. You busted up pretty good. Just go take your money and go live your life, man. You're doing better than a lot of people monetarily speaking. Just go live your life. And he elected to do that, and that was a positive. So, we don't want to poke the bear out of the way. A lot of people are just happy for the fact that there's clarity on top of the team and who is going to be going forward at the quarterback position, and not all of the haze and the fuzziness that, upset the newness of the season. Now that it's gone, people can take a deep breath and kind of enjoy the season. But, I got to give Carr, I'm going to give Carr more respect in the decision than Mickey Lomas, because it was Mickey Lomas that screwed it all up. And Carr ultimately says, I'm done. And he took him off the hook for a lot of money, especially next year. A lot of money's off the hook. So that was really big for him to do that. So I ain't going to poke the bear on the way on out, man. And the man, he did what we thought was best. All right, Brother Prom says, waste of money. Carr was 14-13, Winston 13-8. Wait, all right. Thank you, brother. Appreciate that.
Thank you very much. Picking me up, bringing me back to this world.
Yes, indeed. Shout out to you, my brother. Good to see you in there, man. Much love, bro. All right. And like I said, man, we good, bro. I think all the family members give Swade. So, yeah, we ain't heard from Swade in a while, man. Shout out to my boy, man. All right. Yeah. All right. Yeah. That Black Swade. See, everybody happy to see you, brother. You need to show up a little bit more. I think I seen you on Instagram one time, but bro, I'd be all over the place, man. I'd be just doing every damn thing. Jason Fowl says you got to go get Shador if you want him. Cleveland probably got all them QBs because Stefanski could be on. Oh, he definitely on the hot seat, but that ship is passed, right? I don't think the Saints are interested in Shador at all. That ship is passed. He's a Cleveland quarterback. That narrative is over with. that was something that was drafted maybe prior to the completion of the draft. The Saints made their choice. It's Tyler Shaw, and they want to go with him. So we'll see how they can do with that. That we'll see what that's about. Let's see what happens with that. We're going to see. Because like I said, I want to see how the man look competing with Spencer Rattler. Brother Dwayne says Derek Carr had a serious shoulder injury, starting with a fully torn labrum and a rotator cuff injury that was in degenerative state. Q. If he elected to play without surgery, no more career. Indeed. Yeah, if he was going to have the surgery, he'd have to rehab 2025, then come back for 2026. By that time, you had a full year with a new quarterback, and you had to unseat the guy, and his money would have been a real issue because making that kind of money, he would have definitely been in competition for the job in 2026. So he forgoed everything and just retired. I think it is definitely the best decision one could make. All right, Chantel says Shador is balling in minicamp. Okay, cool. We love that, man. Yeah, Jay Survivor said he remembers Sway saying trust the Peyton. I don't remember Sway saying trust the dentist, though. Did you say that, Sway? If not, man, we trust the dentist. All right. Yeah, it says In the Groove says guest Carr ended up taking a pay cut after all. Yeah. Nature got involved, right? That was game over. All right. Thank you, Prom. Thank y'all. Appreciate y'all. All right, fam, we're going to get ready to kind of step on that. But before I go, listen, there's a poll question. We got 140 plus people that voted on the poll. Please give us your thoughts on the poll. How many games do the Saints win this year? 12 or more, 10 or 11, 9 or 8 games, or 7 or lower? Right now, as it stands, as we're about to get ready to close the poll, 39% of the Who Dat Nation says the Saints win 7 or lower. That leads the poll currently. The next highest total is 9 to 8 games. That's 31%. 10 to 11 games is 22%. And only 7% believe the Saints win 12 or more games. But right now, 39% of the family members that are polled said that 39% says that the Saints win 7 or less games for 2025. Is that a bad thing being you got a rookie head coach? Young quarterbacks here, defense shifting from 43 to 34. A lot of shifting changes happening here in a new system. So that's not bad. And actually 7 or less that's a large number. That's anywhere between 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games. Some people might think the Saints might win 3 or 4 games, but 7 or less games right there. So that's a great number of games. Look at Anthony says 5 and 12. Yeah, Sway says I trust a hungry rattlesnake before I trust Dennis. I don't think you should trust any of them either, brother. Yeah, 504 Code says I agree. Q, it took me 2 weeks to get over not drafting Shador. I'm not going back down that dark road. Exactly. Well, not because it don't make any sense. I mean, the Saints made a choice. They chose Tyler from Louisville. You got to roll with that. And of course, Shador Sanders' success, if you're a Who Dat Nation person, you're going to be looking at Shador's success with the Browns versus Tyler, and see how that goes when the Saints play. Because ultimately, we know Watson is going to be up out of there at some point. His coach had, his own governor of the team or the owner of the team basically said that he was a bad decision, and they drafted 2 quarterbacks in the draft. So they're really serious, and they traded for one, and they're really serious about Deshaun Watson, like them moving beyond getting him up out of there. That was really, I thank the Cleveland Browns for doing that. He had no intention of coming to New Orleans. He was trying to use New Orleans to get to Atlanta to build a super team. And Cleveland jumped in there with all that guaranteed money. At no point did I ever, when they got up to, I was like, man, this guy's not serious about, because that's who Dennis Allen was trying to get before the Carr thing. That was the summer before. He's trying to get Deshaun Watson. And remember, it's like, damn, that's that, when you look back, it's 2020, because, Deshaun Watson that we see now, this injured plague player in Cleveland's having problems with, was not the same Deshaun Watson that was with Houston. That was not the same guy. He took the money and it just went all kind of ways funny, but he was not the same guy he was with the Texans. The Deshaun Watson guy in Houston was one of the a top 10 quarterback in the league, top 12 in the NFL. The way he was playing out there, had really good numbers for them. And then he went to Cleveland, and all that money, it just didn't hit right. The scheme, whatever they were running, he just couldn't live up to expectations with that money as a whole. That's what I'm saying. You have to be able to deal with the pressure that come with the money. A lot of these guys can't. There's a psychological component goes on, because even though they see you as a quarterback, you make a certain amount, they lay up off you. But when you're a guy that makes that kind of money, man, everybody's attention is focused it's focalized on you and how you plan. And some guys can handle that. Some guys can't handle that, man. That money can be a gift as well as a curse, depending on how you built. So be mindful of taking that big old money. And you got it's a component that comes along with that. All right, Dwayne says, outside the Redskins QB, we have more talent on offense than them. Washington did well with Jaden Daniels at the helm. I think we can win 10 games. Who dat nation forever, baby. Thank you, brother Dwayne. All right. Brother Prom says 6-11. Has Sway been in witness protection? I don't know where you been at, Sway. Tell the people. What's up, Demetrius? He said, I want a hit of whatever that 7% is smoking. All right. Dr. Gray says, not that bad at all after a rebuild. Yeah, listen, like I said, it depends on, several factors. But like I said, even if the Saints did win 7 games, that's 2 better than what you won last year, right? And plus, like I said, you're in a rebuild. You're pretty much in a rebuild right now. You got a rookie head coach. You got a young quarterback at the top of the team. You do have several older players on 1-year contracts, but this is a rebuild. To be honest with you, we've been in a rebuild for a while with a veteran team, not just spinning our wheels with dumb leadership and all this kind of old stuff. I mean, people literally get mad at you for pointing out the fact that this is not how you win. That's how Lattimore ended up getting up out of here. They reworked this contract because he was saying, man, we're not going to win like this. Elvin was doing, they tried to stop his money because he was mad about the losing. But in the end, like I said, man, at some point we had to go through this. So even if it's 7 wins with Kellen Moore there, it's still a plus because you got him here for multiple years. You got his quarterback here. You're building up on something. They had a pretty decent draft that you're not going to respect until next year when some of these players stepped into starting roles for you. And they can build on it from next year's draft on this draft. So it was a pretty solid draft, and the Saints picked all of its picks. They didn't trade any picks. But they had like 9 picks, and the Saints used the 9 picks. I don't think anybody thought the Saints was going to keep all of those picks. I most certainly didn't. I thought they would, when you get close to the back end of the draft, put some picks together to jump a spot to get a guy. The Saints held on to all of their draft capital and selected players with all of those. Those are 9 players that will have some type of impact. And at least 5 or 6 of those guys could be really, real solid contributors. I know at least 3 of them this year could be starters. Vernon Brockton could be a starter for you. Quincy Riley could be a starter for you. If he beats Ugo Almighty, Danny Stutzman next year could be a starter for you when DeMario leaves. Hell, he can help out for you this year if there's an injury with DeMario or Pete Werner. So you'll see him. Jonas Sanker will replace Tyrann Mathieu. So he'll be backing it up. You have an undrafted guy that could be your new punter. So you got some draft picked guys that could be starting for you this year, and those for next year that can step in for older players that are going. Even the developmental tight end Matavo could be a player in next year's team based on the fact that 2 of the guys on the depth chart, Taysom Hill and Foster Monroe, are going to be off the team. So he moves up higher. So you have guys that will be, that'll be factors. So this draft, it could actually be, we won't truly appreciate it until really next year when a lot of these players step in there. So might be all right, man. They saying that this, that, and the third. We'll see. All right. Yeah, Jeff, so that cornerback's going to be nice and zone. That's right. A couple of big contracts fall off next season. Prom says Taysom needs to retire and enjoy his family. Dr. Gray says 5+ wins is not bad. Saints have to start strong and finish the season strong with so many older veterans in key positions. Finishing the season strong in November, December is the hardest part. Dr. Gray got the recipe. He got the prescription. That's what I'm talking about. Dwayne also adds Loomis and Gale made horrible contract decision, the worst in team history. Number 1, Junior Gillette, Brandon Brown, and now Derek Carr. Those 3 guys cost us over $250 million, Q. Indeed, bro. Blank Man says this will not be a good season. Saints find a way to flop. Thank you, Blank Man. J5. All right, Survivor for Life says they went all in 5 years ago. They go all in every year, bro. The last 4 years have been, and I think that's the thing. I don't think a lot of us are anticipating like, hey man, the Saints got to get to the playoffs this year. It'll be nice, but realistically speaking, we'll see how it's a lot of transition. The young players at key positions, at the quarterback positions, new system, switching from 4-3 to 3-4. A lot of transition going on for the Saints to pick up on, like with other teams already established in their offensive philosophy, defensive philosophy, simply adding people to it. Carolina's going to take a step. Tampa Bay still solid. Atlanta went where the needs were with getting talent on the defensive side of the ball. So they, at some point, these people mess up and they add to it. Eventually, they're going to start firing on all cylinders. And some of these guys are ahead of us in what we were trying to do in a rebuild. Carolina went through a rebuild. They're now in year 3 of their rebuild with Bryce Young. Atlanta did their thing. They got something going on with Michael Penix Jr. at Tampa Bay, still strong. What they got, adding players to it to keep it going. So the NFC South won't be a laughing division in my estimation. A lot of these teams are going to be ready to compete. And the Saints will be in the mix somewhere, right? You would think, right? We'll see. We shall see. But anyway, let me do this the final time and do one more look at it. 150 plus people voted on the poll. 41% says 7 games or lower, and 31% says 9 or 8 games. 21% says 10 to 11 games. 7% 12 or more. Okay, so the winners are 41% for 7 games or less in terms of what the Saints are going to do this season, baby. So there you go. All right, cool man. Says if we can win at least 5 games in our division, all we need is another 5 to get 10 games. I think it is possible. It is. Like I said, we don't know. We'll see how it all reacts. That's the great thing about it, man. We got some newness going on. We'll see how it all rolls. All right. All right. So with that being said, we're going to get out on that. Gundam said, I like the linebacker from Oklahoma, tight end from UCLA. The people sleeping on that young tight end. Matavo. I say Matavo. Yeah. I watched footage on him. We did the Patreon breakdown on Matavo. Matavo, fam. Hey, listen, that little tight end they got right there, that guy it's something to that guy. It's something to him. Like I said, this year, not so much if they're depending on the injuries, but next year, you're going to see something about Matavo. You're going to see something about Matavo. I'm going to keep it all the way funky with you on that. You're going to see something about Matavo. All right, anyway, let me get ready to get out of here. Listen, I want to thank all you guys. What's up, Rip LaBouffe says more than 5. Okay, thank you, bro. All right, I thank all you guys for chiming in the show tonight. Feel free to give us a like. Also, if you're not a sub up, baby. Join the mighty Who Dat Nation, the great Saint Think Tank at the Sports Coma. Please feel free to share the show links on your social media feed. That helps us out. Also, if you can join the Patreon and YouTube membership family, that's there. There's links in the description section for our great sponsors that sponsor the Coma. All that great stuff going on. Mint Mobile for people that want to check out Mint Mobile. If your cell phone bill's high, you want a deal, the links in the description section. Teach Henley, skincare for men, so you don't walk around looking like a reptile. On Mother's Day, you don't want to have that ashy ass skin and all that kind of stuff. Check out Teach Henley. You don't give her a kiss and at the same time cut her face. That'd be a bad look for you. All right, then Bet Online, man. You can check out Bet Online for those as well that want to get their bet on, man. I'm not much of a betting man, but for those who do like to bet and make a few extra dollars, that's on you. Bet Online is also available there. They support the stream and hope you guys support them as well. So with that being said, listen, I'm going to get out on that, fam, on this special Mother's Day stream. Once again, a hand clap to all of the responsible, loving, and dedicated mothers out there, man. That's for you.
He ain't lying.
That's for you guys, for all the mothers. So with that being said, we're going to get out on that. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all day. And listen, fam, I'm going to pop up and holler at y'all on the Monday stream, and we're going to kick it again. Much love. Who that to you. Peace.
Yeah. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Post-Carr, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, 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 Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Post-Carr, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shame for the championship. Bucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees on Roger Goodell. Yeah, probably like this and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
WhoThatDaily.com. That's right, WhoThatDaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, even the top flight boxing news. So if you're a Who That and you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, WhoThatDaily.com is your site. The WhoThatDaily.com for the sport Who That in all of us. That's right, the Pro Shop is the platform store where you can go and buy all the latest merch to support the platform. Available at the Pro Shops, we have dozens of hundreds of products available for you and your family. Unisex tees for men and women, hoodies and sweatshirts, tank tops, kids and baby items, long sleeve tees, mugs, pillows, wall art, bath bedding, face masks, phone cases, stickers, bags, fanny packs, socks, hats, and many other items. Please feel free to check out the Pro Shops. The link is in the description section below. And remember, it helps the platform continue to grow. So check out the Pro Shop and Who That Too.